Oh, oops. Forgot to notify the rest of the Discord. Alright. Let me notify the people I know about this. I do not. Whoops. Oh well. Oh yeah, let me stream this to Discord so you can see it.
I will need to.
Alright.
Man, I haven't played Skyrim in fucking years.
I will say, I've modded it. I've modded it to hell and back, but also not modded it to hell and back. As in, like, when you look at this UI and you look at the animations, it's like it doesn't feel like Skyrim, but when you look at the ground and you look around, you can still recognize it as Skyrim.
I can very much recognize it.
Yeah. I know some people will overhaul the textures so much that you barely recognize it. I'm probably
whenever you have those Korean MMO looking girls.
Yeah, I'll probably I mean, I can probably create a character. I have like the leveler's tower that I can level up really quickly and fuck around with, but I'll probably play the character I've been playing with for this one off. Hides his track.
Right now?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
I have his whole drip, some of which I've ganked from the farthest reaches of Solstheim. And I also have his Durag of Accuracy on. Increases bow damage, though I rarely use the bow for actual combat. Believe it or not.
Hey, see, what is his backstory?
Hides his tracks.
Yeah,
Funny enough. So, because I did an alternate start mod, Skyrim Unbound, he didn't have the whole Helgen thing. He woke up in a cave, and like with a bunch of vampires, he didn't know what to really do, so he just snuck around, killed them, and ran out. He went straight to Riften, became a member of the Thieves Guild, stealing shit because it felt natural, sneaking around. And then, after a little bit through, he discovered the Dawn Guard, which kills vampires. And you'd think that waking up in a cave full of them with no memories, and a guy whose immediate instinct was to kill them would be like, maybe I don't want to. But then he realized he's a stealthy character, and most of the perks of being a vampire fit stealth like a glove. So he just said, you know what, just give me the vampire powers.
So and a vampire lizard man.
Yeah, who also is also starting to build up a skooma empire. I forgot to mention that part.
Ah, very smart, very important.
On his Thieves Guild quest, he found a Khajiit who was in the skooma game, who had his lab all set up, but due to an incident, could no longer make skooma himself, so Hides His Tracks, the name of this Argonian, decided to assist in the skooma empire. And now I head to Redwater Den to retrieve the with Lord Harkon being like, you have to go there to retrieve the sacred blood. But in reality, this skooma den is one of my strongest competitors, and it would help me very much if I got rid of them and nipped them in the bud.
It's very important that you do that. You know, you gotta take out the competition.
I will say, I went in here, killed a couple people at the front, and then realized that my drip was all the way in Solmstein, so I boated over there and grabbed it and came back. So I'm coming back to, like, a couple corpses. Like this hilariously placed one right here.
You see, that person had a party.
Dealer. So that's a bit of a competition taken out. And, now everybody, when it comes to stealth, they think of archery. I do not use archery in my stealth. I use something a little different. A tradition, if you will. Well, the traditional stealth route. Also, I have a HUD mod that is a little bastard. I adjusted its text in the files, and it's still not doing it. But what this little bastard of a mod does is it gives you a cool UI, but it moves the sneak UI near the bottom of the screen for some reason.
Huh.
Whoever decided to program that in by default, you should be stabbed at least once.
Hello, Oren.
Also, there's a vampire down here. This is how I take care of business.
Now, AC, you were talking about how you don't use arrows and stuff, and it gave me the idea of it'd be really funny if you played a stealth, if like a character that plays a stealth build, but the stealth is entirely around others killing the person for you.
I have
So
illusion
you have
spells.
Mind control, you got mind control, you got necromancy, you got bribery, manipulation. Like, it's all the social skills. It's all the skills that don't involve sneaking that still involve something else killing the person or stealing.
I got a poison spell. Also, I have a couple of... Funny enough, my main build is illusion. And, wait, does this guy have anything? It's illusion and, like, sneaking. But,
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, you know, tricking people to jump off ledges.
here's my illusion, spell set so far. Visibility, and Shadow Legion, meaning that living targets in an area are attacked by illusions. Now, Blood for Blood, this is an interesting one. So, say you get a guy to kill another guy. If you cast...
I would never.
If you cast this on that corpse, it will do all the damage to the guy that killed that person.
Oh, interesting.
There's this, which, for the next 19 seconds, it increases stealth attack, sneak damage, and drain stamina. We have Doppelganger, which makes an illusionary copy of the target for 29 seconds. Cursed Rune. We have Backlash, where it interrupts the spellcaster. Spells interrupted, they get hit by their own spell. And, while non-offensive spells are cast on the caster. Ghost Walk is invisibility, but once the invisibility wears out, you teleport back to where you cast it. Night Eye, pretty simple. Pale Shadow, another spell of a target being attacked by its own image. Only this isn't limited by type, and it's a lot shorter. Clairvoyance. Crying Eye, it's the spell equivalent of Pocket Sand, basically. Courage.
That's a good name.
Courage. Fury, which makes a creature really mad. And then Fright, which makes them scared.
I have a creative exercise for you, AC.
Alright,
so I was thinking about that idea of having like the stealth build that doesn't involve sneaking, and it made me think, what other classes can you do that does not use their inherent associated skill? So, you know, the barbarian, he's like fighty, right? He's strength. Okay, how do you have a barbarian character that doesn't involve strength?
Just
I have an idea, but I want your thought.
And this idea has been inspired by a post I saw. Also have it to be where like they're a stealth character, but their stealth is that you put points into intimidation instead of sneak, and like their way of stealthing is them intimidating people by yelling, "You don't see me." That's the D&D.
No, wait, is that the barbarian or is that like your alternative stealth idea?
That's the D&D alternative stealth barbarian.
That's a fun idea. So I was thinking a Beastmaster barbarian. They don't do the stealth. They don't do the striking themselves, but they have But they're like going ugh and grog, and then they say go attack, and then they get their leopard or something to attack the enemy.
Sounds a bit like a druid.
Kind
Or
of
ranger.
druid, like a druid barbarian.
Also,
Except, not magic. They're just like have a high affinity for dealing with animals.
I will say, Bone, did you see the perk mod I got, Ordinator, and how it juices up the perks by a lot?
Wait, so what am I looking at?
This is the perk.
Sneak.
Sneaking. With Ordinator, it adds a lot more. A lot of times it's just a dodge roll increasing sneak, but you have different paths that do different stuff. There's the backstabbing route. You have the tripwire route, where you place a tripwire, and if an enemy runs into it, they ragdoll, and they can ragdoll multiple enemies. You can upgrade that tripwire, to the point where the final point in it makes it to where entering combat will just automatically place one behind you for 60 seconds, and it doesn't count against the limit of one at a time. There's also the dodge roll, where performing the roll that you unlock can make you ethereal, and there's here where after you roll you get a damage boost. There's also later up on the tree, an ability called Party Starter, and it's one of the latter ones. The moment you gain an invisibility status effect, it places a barrel of flammable booze at your location. When you lose invisibility, it explodes, dealing fire damage equal to 200% of your sneak ability.
Huh.
So you can essentially just start blowing people up when you go invisible.
That's interesting.
Only downside is you better hope your companion is essential, because they'll get hit by that shit too. There's also this ability called Shadow Warrior, where if you sneak in the middle of combat, you gain 2 seconds of invisibility, and oh boy, does that stack with Party Starter, as in like you get the fucking barrel when that happens.
You also develop a thick, kinda racist Asian accent.
Okay, you were also thinking it. I was wondering, do I make that joke? Took the words right out of my mouth.
Backstab.
I was about to say, and do you also develop like a really thick Asian accent? Like a really bad Asian accent?
Also, there's the smoke screen power, which it's a cloud of smoke, and anybody in the smoke can't see you, and any sneak attack does 50% more damage as well. So instead of just being just flat stat boost, it has some stat boost, but it mainly also adds in some neat little like tricks in there that really wants you to climb up the tree. You also have
play a little trick on him. Joker's trick.
There's also alchemy, which you just make potions with it, and at first it starts off to where like it increases how powerful your potions be, and then there's like this ability on the left where you get oils, where you can, whenever you put a point into this, you can just pick an elemental oil of your choosing, and you create a pool of oil, and when struck by a projectile or explosion, it reacts to it. And the second thing is like a calming frenzy or paralysis oil. So yeah, this is a bunch of oil stuff there.
I'm so
And what
full
mod
of
is
oil.
this, AC?
For the perks?
For the audience, yes.
Ordinator. It's the classic. It's the original. It's Ordinator.
Ordinator? How
Yeah.
does that spell?
O-R-I... No. No. O-R-D-I-N-A-T-O-R. Ordinator.
The Ordinator!
There's also, also speaking gets some wild shit. Where you can unlock bribery. I was in there originally. There's one for there's an entire, like, tree dedicated to your shouts. One for, one for sales. And one's for performing, if you want to play a bard class, or whatever. And there's also this, speaking to animals. You can tame them and have them fight for you.
What is this, like, tree in again? Is this sneak?
Speech. This is speech.
Oh, speed.
Illusion, I'm just kind of lightly tapping into because it's all I really need to. Though there's some pretty cool ones, like, Terror, it's like, oh, you get, like, a, fear spell casted on you, and, on the enemy, and they drop their weapon. But it's not as, like, different as some of the other ones. I will say, even though I've never messed with this, I think Conjuration has, like, some of the most wacky, like, bullshit when you invest in it. For example, you can do corpse gas, where if your reanimated undead is destroyed while on fire, it explodes. There's also an ability, and I forget where it is. I think it's Unleash Hell? Or, it was in there. But basically you can summon like a mini Oblivion Gate, and like a bunch of stuff will come out. There's also the Rat King ability, where when you enter combat, it just automatically spawns in 3 undead skeevers under your control.
Oh, Dishonored! I love Dishonored!
You can be the Rat Man. Destruction is split up into the elements. And you can get up to some bullshit like shock spells have a 50% chance to lift the target into the air for 2 seconds, preventing movement. Electroconvulsions. So yeah, the build is that basically relies on you palpatining them when you electrocute them and they're just stun locked by it.
I like the use of Palpatine as a verb.
I mean, it's electricity. You get the picture.
And you also scream, unlimited power!
There's also, Glacial Prison, where if you use frost spells, it immobilizes targets in a block of ice for 6 seconds. And with fire spells, it burns it explodes the ground beneath them. It calls it ground explosion that blasts them in the air and reduces magic resistance. And then there's the restoration, which is actually not really that lame in Ordinator. Like it kind of is in the main game. Because you have You also like have a spells where you can learn some stuff. Like Necromanticon gets you some evil undead restoration spells. Also a gas cloud.
Oh no, the gas.
There's either there's healing. There's like there's the necrotic fucked up shit. There's wards. There's the battle cleric build, where it focuses a little bit on like holy damage, where you get like, and you even get some abilities. There's also basically if you want to fuck up undead, it's really good. And there's also alteration, which has some real wild stuff to it. For example, we do spells that let you alter yourself when you get into it. Like, you can increase an attribute or resistances. And, weirdly enough, it has the most abilities, I would say, that's overtly D&D bullshit. Like, you get Dimension Door as like as an endgame one. You also get, ability called. I also get some real bullshit here. I'm trying to find it. That's some energy shield. If wearing robes or no light armor or heavy armor, increases attack damage by percentage, but you lose magicka. So it basically turns your mana into like an energy shield. It's also yeah, you can get some real wacky spell casting. With smithing, your choices are either you crafting or you could just turn into the engineer. Or you just
Team Fortress.
yeah, you get your sentry turret, you can deploy it, and you upgrade your turret.
Wait, sorry, what does the turret look like in this situation?
It is a Dwemer autocannon, so it's like one of those dwarven things.
Autocannon? What the fuck is an autocannon in this kind of setting?
I had to spawn one in to really show you. Damn it, I have.
What does it shoot?
It shoots like projectiles, like, I think it shoots like, little arrows at first. It's like a crossbow.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes more sense.
There's also Electro Bolt, where every 5th shot is an electromagnetic blast. There's also Fireline, which deploys 2 cannons. So yeah, if you're investing in smithing, you could actually use that for combat applications. There's two-handed and one-handed. Though if I ever invest more than one-handed, I'd probably go for the dagger build because that's what I got. Cause there's some cool stuff in there. I will say archery also gets a bunch of shit. Like, damage increases from, like, the farther an enemy is. There's also the aim. Quick shot, which increases the draw speed. There's also trick arrows you can get. Which it's like force, immolation, freezing, grounding, and whatnot. But yeah. Some cool stuff. Also, light armor, you can go for a, You can go for an unarmed build if you invest in light armor. As in, this branch increases how much damage your fists do. It gets to the point where you can choose what kind of element your fucking fists do. And it unleashes a shockwave. Yeah. You can go for an unarmed build. Lockpicking is, I would say lockpicking's lockpicking. But there's a whole, there's basically a bear trap build with, lockpicking. Or you can just carry around and drop bear traps.
You can be a troll.
You can pick up and carry up to 3 bear traps. And by the end, you can add an extra effect to it. Anything from poisoning to draining magicka. Also pickpocketing has combat implications. Like, ability Death's Emperor. A cursed septum appears in your inventory. When someone else possesses the coin, your attack deals 100% more damage and critical damage to them.
Larian should hire these people.
That reminds me of that fucking Reaganomics from my goddamn D&D.
Oh yeah, the gun that I had!
In retrospect... So in retrospect, I wish I actually utilized this more I maybe reworded it a little bit of how it actually works. So there was a gun so there was this like church where like in this place where like items would just kind of fall through the world into there from other places, and there was a church that was dedicated specifically to an American history textbook. And a guy who was very clearly hyper-capitalist was deeply invested in the politics of Ronald Reagan. So he sold a magic...
Does this take place in, like, the real world?
No, and actually, no, not in the slightest. It's in my D&D setting.
I mean, like, is it, like, a futuristic, like, what is... Like, you said it, like, American history book.
Oh, hold on a second. Okay. So, within the context of my setting, there are several, like, effectively scars in the earth called dividers that were created during a big-ass dragon war that happened during the Age of Fantasy. Where basically just, like, there are these, like, worms, like WYRMs, that were, like, gigantic dragon-birthing pits. There was this crazy magic lance that would obliterate them, and as such would create giant scars in the earth, and then those were kind of considered as religious sites. There's a secondary magical element that came in during the big apocalypse when the moon started bleeding and all that fun business, called staining. So as it turns out, staining interacted very weirdly with those kind of like weird pseudo-religious sites, where rather than just kind of getting rained on with moon blood, the kind of like the fabric of reality kind of warped and shifted a little bit in those areas in specific, where things that were not of this world would just kind of pop in, or like a door would open and you'd suddenly be in a different part of like in a different reality very briefly. So in this case, there was a town that people lived in that I believe was called Kowloon, like How, or in like a Kowloon, like the place in Hong Kong, I believe. Their specific weirdism was that items from alternate realities would just kind of drop in there from time to time, and they'd fall into like a giant near bottomless chasm, and then people would go like spelunking in the chasm to go get stuff out of there to sell. One of such items was a heavily skewed American history textbook that made Ronald Reagan seem like the greatest guy ever. So he created a Church of America, and then he sold various like various weaponry and items, mainly guns, because you know it was based in America. One of these was called Reaganomics, which was a pistol that did astronomical damage relative to how much money that the enemy had on them at any given time.
That sounds fun.
Uh,
Hey, is it more money the enemy had, the more damage, or less money?
The more money they had, the more money they had, the more damage it would do.
that's funny. I got like a stab in while you talk about that, but I like for some reason during that conversation I kind of locked in and got one of my more like creative kills. So to explain and to recap it, which I'll post a clip later if I can go get it from Twitch. There's a skeleton and this like imp and this goon I'll describe as a thrall. I cast Fury on her, have her go kill the skeleton, and I use my ghost walk to go invisible, and then I go up behind the corpse. I wait for her to go by to where I was, and then I cast Blood for Blood on it, and all the damage she did to it goes returning to her, and the explosive barrel that was placed when I went invisible blew up and then killed her alongside the damage. So I unintentionally accidentally did one of the most biggest brain plays I think I've done in a hot minute.
You did it. Fuck yeah.
Big brain plays. I remember I shot a guy with that, Economics.
Yeah, and he had like a shit ton of money on him, so he exploded into coins a little bit. I think that was the extra thing where it was like, it would just kind of like explode out all their money, like they were a fucking Scott Pilgrim boss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. What other like stupid things did I have? Let's see. Oh wow, I forgot. I skipped an entire story, I think, for you guys. Whoopsies.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a fucking character that you were pretty sure was you from an alternate reality, but he was just weird.
Yeah.
His name was Bo Rob Bobbington, and he was a green dragonborn. He twitched and spasmed frequently because he kept going down into the fucking chasm to get stuff, and it fucked him up every time he went in there.
And people are like that's just Alistair from a timeline where he started narcotics.
Oh yeah, that's right. He thinks Bob might be an abbreviation of his original name because he can't really remember.
Also, this coffin's good. Something like I need to hang on. I need to increase the size of my chat in OBS. This thing is fucking shrunk to all hell for some reason. But yeah, Noir said, all according to Keikaku, when I was on our diatribe. Also, hello Noir. Another thing I do want to point out is I think I glitched this coffin. It's supposed to have a script where it opens, but I blew up and burned the vampire inside of it alive, so it's just trapped shut forever.
God. Yeah, here we go. Here's the stupid items that I was selling rather than Reaganomics. What is it? Yeah, the Herald of Darkness, which was just Alan Wake's flashlight. A high-frequency modification for your blade that turned it into Raiden's sword. Just a flat-out bolt gun. Like, also a chainsword from 40... That was when I was in my 40k era a little bit. A thing that modifies your armor to turn it into Kirk's armor from Dark Souls. A Moonlight Greatsword, and a Monster Capture Ball, which is just a Pokemon. And then
was there a Pokemon in it?
No, you could capture monsters in the setting, and other than that, what is it? I think I flavored in. There's like boxes full of like various music discs from different places, and like plushies you could get of things that you like.
That's a fun idea.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read any of those books I recommended you?
Still trying to get on that personally.
Did you ever spend your free Audible credit?
No, I have not spent my Audible credits yet.
You could spend an Audible credit. You get one free with the first free or whatever the fuck the spiel is. Whatever the fuck the sponsor spiel is.
Currently, my brain bandwidth has been taken over by Monster Hunter for the foreseeable, for the current moment, the current juncture, I should say.
So, I also was, so I've been kind of having this hankering, although I probably won't, go through with it, of playing, like, a Star Wars adjacent RPG, because I really want to play, like, a bounty hunter or assassin droid kind of thing, IG-88, HK-47, that kind of thing. And so I asked, the subreddit for RPGs, like, what's a good off-brand Star Wars that isn't Star Wars? And I got 74 replies. Apparently, there's a lot. A lot of them I'm seeing Scum and Villainy as a good one.
How high is my
What a
alteration?
name.
Damn, it's only 22.
Alright, so what other, so to go back to the idea of, like, creating a, unordinary version of a class, what are some RPG classes that you can think of doing, like, a unique take on? Such as the archer that gets the stealth guy, assassin that gets other people to do his work.
I mean, if I was to offer two things, I think that this isn't necessarily the same bit, but I do feel that elemental, like, druids of other elements and environments have been severely overlooked. Because for the most part, when you think of a druid, you think of the forest, you think of the trees, you think of the animals and the birds and the bees.
You think of the hippies.
But I think that like having a druid of the desert, of like a mountainous kind of like volcanic place, like a thing that's like in tune with the earth in different kinds of locations, that's more than just like, I know how to use ice magic, like, you know. I had an entire like character that was centric around being a druid of the sand specifically.
I was imagining the Arctic druid. It's like, I could use ice, and then like the enemies are laughing at him, like, just ice? Is like, I also could turn into a polar bear, and he just fucking mauls the bandit.
What are you gonna do? Throw penguins at me?
Fun fact, polar bears are one of the few creatures that do not see humans as, predators.
Isn't the line that they're one of the few that see humans specifically as prey?
Yeah.
That said, was that from just a social media post, or was that actually from, like, a thing? Because if it was just from a social media post, then I'm not gonna trust it.
I would say, there are more reports of polar bears being hostile actively out than there are, like, any other bear.
That is true, however, if that doesn't inherently mean that they view humans inherently as prey, as much as they might just be inherently hostile animals.
They'll eat, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so for the record, no, they don't hunt humans, but they do, but it seems like they do see them as food at the very least. Like, they don't go out of their way to, like, look for humans to hunt, but if they were to encounter one, they would see them as food.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just the wording on, like, that, I think it was just a social media post, I don't know if it was an actual article. It's like, it makes it sound like they are, like, they look for humans.
But if I was to think of another, like, kind of like offbeat thing, I think a particular brand of like fantasy character that kind of gets overlooked specifically is not necessarily, like, how do I put this? An arcane machinist, but not in the way that they're, like, using guns to, like, cast spells. Like, they make ethereal magic turrets that do their fighting for them a little bit. Like, they conjure up little orbs that, like, shoot shit out. Like they're a fucking... Yeah, like, they're kind of like a fucking Toho character, like, shooting out little fucking projectile orbs and stuff.
So the idea I'm having is, like, okay, what is a class? Now, have them be that class without using their commonly associated stats. So, like, a cleric, what is a cleric stats, inherently? I don't know the stats of how D&D or
clerics are primarily based on wisdom as a stat.
Okay, so can we have? So what are the other sets? What are the D&D stats? The
So
closest thing I can
you
think of is
have-
like Dark Souls.
So you have strength, dexterity, charisma, or no, sorry, constitution, wisdom, and charisma. Am I missing anything? There might be
Okay.
another one. Hold on a second. Let me double check. Let's see. So, yeah. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So yeah, 5.
Clerics are predominantly like physical, guys, right? That use
Um,
spells.
I mean, on a
They're
fundamental
like holy
level.
knights.
No, you're thinking of paladins.
Oh, what's a cleric then?
Clerics are healing, effectively healing priests. They
Okay, I was
cast
thinking
spells and
paladin.
heal people, ideally.
Okay, in that case, paladin. What is like the commonly associated thing with paladin in terms of like skills or?
So in
whatever?
terms of stats, generally your two primary stats are going to be charisma and strength.
Charisma and strength. I was gonna say like I kind of didn't expect charisma, so I was like, okay, can you have like a missionary paladin that does something that's like predominantly does talking?
So
Would that be an uncommon way of handling that?
so it's a kind of a strange thing because it's like, see, for the most part, a lot of pretty much every single existing spellcaster class has a specific stat that is associated with their spellcasting bonus, and that's what effectively natively makes them good at that particular thing. So in the case, so like you have so what's the word I'm looking for? So you have so paladins and sorcerers and warlocks use charisma mainly. Wisdom is used by clerics and druids. And then, I don't believe that, like, fighters or anything else, like, use stuff like that. Well, wizards use intelligence. In fact, wizards are the only class that use intelligence, mainly.
How common is archer paladins?
Archer paladins?
Yeah.
I mean,
Does
so...
that fit this kind of hypothetical?
Oh, well, yeah, no, because, like, so something that I should actually clarify is that while I do say that, like, strength is commonly associated with paladins, that's mainly because a lot of their kind of presets, or at the very least how they're kind of perceived and how they're usually handled, is that like like they have the guys with the big defensive stuff and the big weapons and all that kind of stuff. But like in a hypothetical scenario, if you wanted to, you could make a dexterity paladin.
Yeah, I'm trying to do like, okay, the class, but you're thinking outside the box to kind of be that class without their commonly associated stats.
You know what else is something that is viable in hell? Actually kind of common. A rogue that doesn't inherently sneak. Because the thing about your big sneak attack is that you mainly get it off because when another party member is standing near your opponent.
Yeah.
So you can be a rogue character and you can never sneak once and you can still be viable.
Yeah, the main kind of like flavor, I guess, for that kind of thing is that like rogues sort of have the ability to slip in and out of the battle, and if they're near somebody else, they can kind of like use them as a functioning distraction to go up and stab somebody in the back while they're kind of tussling with somebody else at the moment.
That's like a really good and like common subclass that you would never think of in any other RPG. The Barbarian Rogue.
Yeah, the Barbarian Rogue is definitely like in that area that I was kind of like thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got like Barber Rogue, there's a Sorkadin, which is pretty popular as well, where you mix Sorcerer and Paladin because they both have the same, like, stats. So basically just a Paladin that is a very good all-arounder who can take a lot of damage but also do a lot of spells and stuff.
Though if I'm being honest, if you're a sorcerer and want a multi-class, Warlock's the way to go because you can fire your most powerful spell like 50 more times.
That's right, I did also forget about Bards. Bards are also mainly focused on Charisma as well. So Bardadin's also an option. Warlock Bards are also an option. Stuff like that. One that I'm particularly fond of is, I believe I did... Well, what is it? what is it, like a Berserker Rogue is a pretty common one as well, because what is it, barbarians aren't necessarily bound to having a high strength. It's just a skill set. So if you wanted to, you could hypothetically use dexterity as your main thing, and you can still, and you'd have all the abilities to sneak around and do crazy stuff like that. But you'd still be both a barbarian and a rogue. The obvious and most existent trade-off is that the max level, regardless of like what you're kind of playing or like what you're doing in D&D, will be 20 levels at most. So if you decide to multi-class, you won't get the most out of both classes.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
I feel like a big thing, and apologies for cutting you off.
No problem.
I think a big thing that's kind of is that it's like when you want to do these like kind of weird and kind of out of character sort of like or out of like general perception kind of like plays on existing archetypes. Usually what that means is that you kind of have to work with your DM a little bit to create a scenario in which the things that you want to do work. And what that usually means is a little bit of homebrewing or a little bit of like kind of like nudging you with specific magic items that kind of provide you with the experience you want while also kind of like being fair and having a sense of progression associated with it. That's probably not going to be as, I guess the word would be uniform, and at times might not necessarily be as useful as you were to be if you were to do it a specific way. But it is definitely doable. I think if you want this more kind of like free form, do whatever you want while still holding on to a specific idea, you kind of got to go for one of those systems that's more focused on role-playing rather than like mechanics. Because D&D, while I do enjoy the role-playing elements more, it is a mechanically dense video game, or board game rather.
I will say, Barbarian Rogue can still be viable in a Mystery of Light thing.
I mean, one of my favorites is actually Fighter Rogue, or College of Swords Bard, and a Warlock. That's also quite good.
It's like, I think, though, it's funny that I ran into an idea for a rogue multi-class, but it was one of the more out there ideas, even though it does kind of fit. And, that was the Artificer Rogue one, and the only thing I think that made my version not as viable as it could be is I think I should have gone Arcane Trickster. Because at the time, I'm like, Artificer will give me my spells. I could go for Assassin. And it's like, no, there are spells that Arcane Trickster gets that Artificer can never get. And I did not fully realize that, until, like, I want to say like 2 hours after the campaign ended.
Oh yeah, is the campaign finished?
Yeah, it's been done for like a couple months now. Generally speaking, AC has taken the wheel in terms of doing DM stuff for the time being, which is fine. As much as I wanted to do Lancer, truth be told, my general kind of leaning towards that was kind of waning. I think at the moment I want to do something that's a little bit more roleplay focused, or at the very least not as map intensive, because unfortunately that's the thing that fucking drives me to tears in terms of interest. So, yeah, letting him do that kind of stuff while I work on my other creative ventures is perfectly fine. Because, like, you know, I got that game thing I'm working on. You know, that's coming along.
Yeah, we need our assets. I can probably help out at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell. Not to mention, I am generally looking for people to potentially help out in regards to like voice acting and making their own characters and kind of picking out people they want to do with that kind of stuff. But I can see you, at the very least, I can appreciate the help with the assets and that kind of stuff. If I could, I would contract AC to help out with the character portraits and all that fun business as well. At the very least, you know, if it does end up becoming big enough and we can like sell it for an amount of money, it'd probably be just kind of like an even split across the whole fucking thing. Also, I plastered your guys' fucking names all over it.
So like it's funny that like when it comes to your like stuff with like running D&D and my stuff with World of Darkness, it's like I'm putting down maps and being more like tactical with a roleplay like game, and you're being more roleplay in a more tactical game. And it's
I
like,
really like the battle map concept. I really like map.
I guess like it's funny. It's like World of Darkness isn't supposed to have like maps at all. That's not like that's not supposed to really have any kind of map of the sorts. The reason why I add maps is mainly because in Hunter, you guys
Are you adding maps?
to certain parts will have a mapped out area. There will be a certain area you'll get to it and I will post a top down and you'll be like, okay, shit's about to get serious, and they'll be like, oh, there's a power generator over there and like a food stand over there. And it's like, there's the generator, there's like a bucket of water on the opposite end of the map. Do with that information what you will.
Yeah, I remember we talked about like maybe some areas having maps, but I wasn't sure if you were going through with it.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, I guess like the reason why I would want to is for Hunter, you play normal human beings. You don't have any disciplines or any powers. The only powers you get are the weird little artifacts that you might pick up throughout the campaign. And shit like that. Or maybe even the stuff you can get from your own arsenal perks. But
Not the imbued.
you're not the imbued. So I decided that in order to give you guys the edge against the supernatural, I'll give you the one power, and that's the power of brain power. And by what I mean by that is some areas where you know the quarry is at, it'll be like, all right, you know the quarry is walking around in this area. Here's the top down. Here's some like certain things that are pointed out and mapped out. Scheme, plan, and if you want to, set up some traps.
Like I'm really proud of myself for thinking about like how to like tripwire that hallway for that one abomination in Sekiro. Like that, and then we accidentally killed it, so you have to buff out the health. We actually had something to fight and practice with.
Yeah, I mainly had to have you guys fight that because I needed to know how a direct confrontation would go.
Otherwise, there would be basically almost no combat throughout that Sekiro.
Oh shit. Some weird ass armor. Also, I hear something really fucking terrifying running around. What the fuck is that?
You got that.
What was that? Hi. Hello. Level 50?
Matara Khan.
Who's there? But yeah, what is it? In the future, the next thing I am planning for ideally will be a Monster of the Week campaign, which is a bit more focused on roleplay while having some existing like mechanics and stuff. But I think at the very least, might things make things flow a little bit better, and also probably make it so that you are ideally rolling dice at least once a session, because I did have a bit of a bad habit of just having walk-in talks for a couple of days, but that's working with the time I got.
What's that one? Isn't there like a Call of Cthulhu RPG?
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, is that about like making a mystery or something? You're the DM?
So generally, yeah, you kind of follow the standard structure of like the traditional idea of like what a kind of Lovecraftian story would be, where it's like you're sort of like an investigator going through kind of like a Minds of Madness type thing, where you're kind of slowly but surely descending into a hellscape. Not entirely, actually. You can kind of just make shit if you want to, where it's like you're just a bunch of guys with fucking guns taking out random cultists. You want to do that too.
It might be good practice for your game idea.
There is a lot of fairly solid things you can kind of do with Call of Cthulhu that just kind of fall within the range of sanity effects and things of that particular nature. One example of this that I actually want to go with in regards to a Call of Cthulhu campaign actually is a Dead Rising themed one where it takes place in the Blackwoods Mall. And they're like a series of Cthulhu-esque cult-like activities go off all at once throughout the whole mall. You have to take care of the whole thing in like 48 hours. Otherwise, you're kind of fucked. And depending on how well it goes, I'm considering kind of featuring that as part of a broader kind of like personalized setting that I've got going on called what I'm kind of calling like Weird America. It's like the Weird West, but it's modern.
Yeah, I'm thinking sometime after we actually start AC's campaign, I might be able to help you out with the art stuff.
No, that's fine. Like, I still have ways to go in regards to, like, programming and scripting. Ideally, I'd start, like, beseeching you guys for help. Once I can get into the part where, like, I can mostly just focus on, like, scripting out the actual thing and just, like, working through scenes and encounters and stuff. And, you know, like, actually having, like, dialogue and stuff. Like, once I have, like, a basic grasp on, like, how this should work for effectively a 3D visual novel, that's when I'm gonna be like, hey, I actually kind of have something here. You guys want to maybe contribute a little bit?
Now, when you say 3D, what, like, do you mean like Danganronpa? Or
Like Danganronpa.
All right.
Well, not even actually like Danganronpa. Well, yes-ish, because the way that I'm kind of having this, the way that I'm currently envisioning this in my head at the moment, is that effectively like there's a set layout. You have kind of like a map of this kind of like manor that everybody's kind of staying in, because it was like a fake murder mystery party that turned into a real one, and then a detective goes there to investigate, and then he dies, and then the photographer who's there, who's part of the group, can see him through his camera or something along those particular lines. That's not necessarily relevant to the gameplay aspect, but you know, it's anyways. The main method of Heidi be kind of moving around is literally just clicking on a room, going to it, and then investigating. So,
do you have a design doc?
I'm gonna get a design doc going, yeah. Once I have that, well, at least once I have the basics of what I want to code, like, through code and a lot of that stuff, and I feel like I have something that's, like, tangible, then, yeah, I will almost assuredly, write something like that, yeah.
Any notes on the story you want to make?
It is going to be a murder mystery, of course.
No, I mean, like, do you actually have notes written down?
Oh. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I have is stuff that you can currently see on, a lot of the stuff that you have is stuff that you can currently see in the Discord, because I've just been kind of like, kind of tapping in a lot of my thoughts. But, yeah, I do need to...
Wait, where are you writing in those thoughts?
Oh, well, number one, I've just been kind of posting gameplay updates I've been posting just like general updates on my development stuff in Gaming Gamers, but I do have a secret dev room that I can put you in as well.
Yeah, like, I have a personal Discord that AC's in that's, like, for helping me with my game idea, and, like, who knows when that'll get done, if it'll ever get done, so helping somebody else out with their thing would definitely, give me experience, and it would actually give me somebody that actually knows how to program in this fucking engine.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to learn Godot, but at the very least, having somebody that does might make things easier for me.
But, like, yeah, so... I mean, truth be told, I have very much been a... What's the word I'm looking for? I have very much been a keep it all locked away in my head, because I'm surprisingly good about holding on to that information. But, you know, I mean, now that I have people who are interested and want to do that kind of stuff, I will start writing out a proper document to get down all of my stuff in proper order.
Like, like, we have so many creatives in our group, we have yet to have a single, like, person until, like, now that's actually been interested in programming in any game engine. So I've been, like, trying to learn that and doing the 3D art stuff on my own, and it's been, like, crazy annoying for me. So having somebody that actually knows how to deal with this shit would be nice.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, so like, yeah, shit,
so if you succeed, it helps me.
Yeah, no, like, you help me out, I'll help you out, you know, we'll all figure shit out together, it'll be great.
Me making my game quote-unquote atmospheric, because I know everybody in all sorts of creative walks of life except music.
Man, like, I'm sorry, I need to bring up this one thing you guys told me, because I think it's so funny. Reboot, if you ever hear this, I'm sorry, but I was told this and it's incredibly funny. That bit after he played like Lost in Vivo and you guys were still doing those like Gmod horror house type things. We were trying that stuff out, and then apparently after he played Lost in Vivo and walked in, it's like, guys, we should try adding atmosphere. Like that was one of the funniest things I ever heard.
Wait, what's the joke here?
Roboot walked in after having played a new horror game, and it was like he was trying to add to the whole like Gmod horror house thing.
Yeah,
that
haunted house thing.
Yeah, the haunted house thing. I was told something to the tune of him walking into the chat one day and going, guys, what if we added atmosphere to the next one? And I'm not even sure that's exactly what he said, but the way that it's phrased makes it sound hilarious, and I think it's very funny.
Because like the atmosphere would be implied that it would already be there.
It's just like, I guess it's just the idea that it's like he plays one horror game and it's like, guys, I got ideas for a horror game, type thing.
You know what? I agree. We should add atmosphere.
Guy sees
But,
a guy sees.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, guy sees one above average person. Guys, I need to assemble a team.
But one thing that I do want to think about as well a little bit is that like I do want to try doing some stuff for like, you know, like a little bit of audio editing, at least getting some like sound effects done. Whether or not I am gonna be able to make music is a very different story, because it's very easy to embarrass yourself when you're mixing music with very little experience in that particular front.
Something I would recommend is like as somebody that does not make music, is kind of do like, you know, the little like not really beatboxing, but just kind of like with your like mouth, record that, and then try to record like the sounds you hear in your head of what instrument that would be associated with. And there's like I think it's like, oh god, what is it called? Let me try finding the thing that I discovered that's like free and really easy to use. That has like a lot of versatility. Because there's like a music making tool that I thought was like crazy that was free.
Yeah, unfavorite the ancient shrouded boots.
The one main thing I'm planning on in regards to sound effects, though, is probably just going to be some, like, kind of, like, Silent Hill-esque, like, weird little sound effects. Just kind of like, meow, meow.
Yeah, got this note.
Bop,
Don't know. Creepy fella. Looks like that's it.
bop, 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 bop. Da-da-dun, dun, dun, dun.
BandLab has like a lot of sample stuff that you can use and just place down little nodes, and that would those are the instruments.
Hey, we got the note.
Oh, which node is this?
It's the classic.
Wait, AC, whenever are we doing the session at 8:30 EST or CST?
Oh,
That would be,
CS.
I believe you, yeah, CST, so that's 9:30 EST.
Oh, okay. I thought we were actually doing it at 8:30 EST.
I meant I typed CST. Oh yeah, I did. I typed it after that though.
No, I meant whenever we were talking about when to do it. Alright, I guess I misunderstood there. I thought we were going to do it, like, earlier than normal, and that way, we could get more time out of the sessions.
That is a thought I'll think about later. But for now, it's gonna be 9:30 EST, 8:30 CST.
Alright, the normal time then.
It is daylight. I am in desperate need of some healing. Potions don't work like they should. I'm gonna go get some blood real quick.
The idea of, like, a vampire lizard man is very funny to me. I don't know why. It's just
I mean,
not
honestly,
what
I just think it
expect.
sounds cool as fuck.
I
Like,
thought
do they get extended, like, all their teeth extend? Do just two of their, like, many fangs extend?
I mean, if you want to think that's funny, how about the fucking companions, dude? You can become an Argonian who can turn into a werewolf.
That is also pretty.
I'm an animal man that can turn into a different animal man.
Like, they couldn't even make, like, a were-lizard or something? Like,
They could. That's somewhat. Here's the thing, I get not doing the were-lizard for werewolf. What drives me insane is that the vampire lord still looks like a human Count Orlok with wings instead of like having a reptilian appearance. Because it's like you're this like Argonian and then you just turn into like a human like monster for vampire lord.
A werewolf Khajiit is also very funny. You're a cat that turns into a dog.
Also, here's what my Argonian looks like.
No, I mean, like, honestly, that looks cool as shit, dude.
Like, yeah, I got this ship from Solmstein.
How many issues of the sexy Argonian maid have you picked up?
I haven't been able to find any. Fun fact, for those who don't know, in Morrowind, you can go meet the author of that book.
Really?
Yeah.
What's he like? Is he an elf?
Nope, he's a person. He's like an Imperial.
Because elves aren't people.
You know, I was gonna say untrue, but like, you know what elves do to... Oh my god. There's supposed to be guards here. They got jumped by skeletons. Yeah, time to... Boots of Spring Heel Jack, go! Oh! Oh!
Oh my god, it tripped you? Jesus.
It never... That's the first time it's ever done this. It's when I need to run away.
Something that I've always wanted to try out is is like a polar opposite of what you would kind of expect a dragonborn or like a lizard folk to be, because for the most part, usually in like D&D and stuff like that, they're depicted as being like hyper masculine and like huge and chunky and big, and it's good. I like that. But what if they were weird little feral creatures that slithered on walls and stuff?
Wait, what is this?
Take a dragonborn and make them more lizard-like, as opposed to like traditional like dragon-y stuff. A little bit. Like, imagine if they were like really like weirdly like lithe and looked almost kind of like uncanny to a certain degree.
My idea was like having like the body body type build like depend on like their element. Like poison would be slimmer and more sleek, while like a fire is your traditional big buff guy.
No, yeah, like that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking of, where it's like if it's an ice or if it's like an ice drake or that something along those lines, they're like physically sharper and having like really like hot and like really distinct ridges, where they're like a little bit, they look like they look like a fucking castle in and of themselves. Fire ones are a lot more burly and a lot more like worked, because it seems like they're kind of like they might be like kind of like forge workers and that kind of stuff. Like black and green would be kind of like more like lithe and weird. I kind of like the idea that since they're half human, they're not as used to like having a fucking acid and poison generator in their body, so they're like really weird and lithe looking and kind of like creepy.
Oh no.
Something that I actually appreciate about how they've started to handle newer D&D stuff is that like, rather than having it so your character, like your race has like hyper specific stat bonuses that make certain things less usable for you, you just pick like or is it like you add like +1 in 2 stats and +2 in 1 stat? Like I think that's pretty good to me.
I'm kind of hesitant to get into D&D because I hear that because it feels like they're gonna get into AI slop.
Well, you see, the fun thing about that, Bone, is that we don't have to use new D&D. We can use 5e, and then I'll just make a new setting completely, and then I'll just homebrew a bunch of mechanics until people like what they're playing.
Even then, just like it feels like it'd just be better to get into like one of the new, like, you know, like a Pathfinder or something. Just like a company in general that feels pretty safe.
See, I agree with that up until the part where you say Pathfinder, because Pathfinder is one of those ones that you want to play if you fucking love mechanics. Like it's like
so it's difficult, I guess you're saying.
Like it's about on par with D&D 3.5, which was very much a numbers type thing. Like if you love mechanics, then that's the one that you play.
I don't remember hearing something about them streamlining things, but maybe it's still difficult. I don't know.
Admittedly, I haven't really interfaced much with Pathfinder in more recent times. or at all for that matter. And I haven't really heard a lot about that kind of stuff. But if they did streamline Pathfinder, I'd be more than happy to try it out.
Because I was
But it's like,
going through narrative declaration episodes, and they used Pathfinder. One of them mentioned like, "Oh man, that is so much easier than D, like a particular mechanic." I don't know what mechanic they were talking about. I think it had to do with like not having like attack of opportunities every time you try to escape or something like that. And they mentioned it like something being so much easier, but it was like one particular thing. So I don't know. Like I thought I remember hearing like the current edition streamline things.
I feel like.
I was just gonna say really quickly, apologies. 'Cause,
Oh.
same thing. But something I actually kind of want to do, and I think that's what this wouldn't be too particularly difficult to do, is just kind of to make things a little bit more appealing gameplay wise, and a little bit more familiar to certain people who've explored D&D through a very specific and distinct avenue. Just rework a lot of the mechanics to play like Baldur's Gate 3. Because I think that's like, believe it or not, it can translate over pretty well. They just have a very couple and specific differences that make the thing a little bit more gamey. But like in a fun way and not like in a numbers kind of way.
Yo, look at this guy's legs. Never mind, it went back to normal the moment I pointed. Yo, look at his look at his legs. He's like fucking. He's going. And now he's not going. Let me get some. Oh.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You're gonna take all his stuff.
Yeah, including this neat little Stormcloak handgun he dropped.
Something that I think is one of the most frustrating aspects of being a dungeon master is that you could have a really cool, fun little idea for like a magic item, and you're like, "Oh man, this will help them out so much," and the answer is, well, actually, they don't fucking like it at all. You just fucking made that for no reason.
Or it's like they found a tiny exploit and now they're on like god tier power levels.
Or they're playing a paladin.
It's like, I make this cool little item, and it's like for your paladins, so you can spice up combat. Divine Smite, Divine Smite, Divine Smite. I guess that's why I like playing the Rogue Artificer, because I'm kind of forced to evaluate everything in my toolkit. And I guess that's what I liked about playing it. It's like, oh, I gotta think, oh, hey, I can do this and this, let's do that. Or, oh, I can cast this spell. Like, I gotta keep, I have my list and I have to check it twice, but I can pull some bullshit, whether it's naughty or nice.
I know in one of the episodes of, like, Narrative Declaration, where they were doing Wrath and Glory, which is the Warhammer one. Not the Warhams thing, their, like, current Warhammer thing that is not Warhams. One of their players just rolled really hot and accidentally uncovered a mystery that could have gone on for like 3 more sessions or something.
You see, that's gonna be more devastating in my campaign because the biggest part of Hunter the Reckoning's gameplay loop is investigating. Also, look at all these dead guards with all this cool shit that's been modded in. Also, I have a mod that I think should be just in the next Elder Scrolls by default, and that's every favorite item is on you at once.
Hunter doesn't have like nat 20s, right? Like critical successes.
It kinda does. They're like multiple 10s though. You have to get them with multiple. Actually, I think it does have a nat 20 system, but it's with multiple dice, so it's not as reliable.
Actually, I was listening to what's that one like famous DM guy that does like the really popular like gimmicky Dungeon Dragons kind of show? Brennan something, Mulligan something. Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he mentioned how apparently like critical success, like the nat 20 thing, is apparently not actually a rule in the game.
No, yeah. So that's sorry to kind of cut you off a little bit, but it's very much this thing where it's like, no, for the record, you do not have to make something automatically succeed or do the thing that they say you're going to do, that you say that you're going to have to do, because they got a nat 20 on it. that you do not have to immediately give them whatever they want. You can certainly give them a favorable result with little consequences, but it's not just gonna like magically make something happen for them.
Yeah, I think he said like it wasn't a rule. It's just like something that he likes, that a lot of people like doing. Where like a 20 is like not just a success. It's like you like something crazy happen.
That's usually that's the most popular homebrew rule. Like I would say, period. Almost for like any other game, or I haven't seen anything where like people come up with like unofficial rules, and it's like taken off super hard.
I know Narrative Declaration does something called complications, which I'm not sure if that's like a actual Pathfinder thing or if that's a homebrew thing. But essentially, so if you get a nat 1, you don't just fail the thing, you get a complication. So let's say you like get a nat 1 with your perception or whatever, and they look at their complication list because they have like a bunch of viewers submitted ones, and it's like, okay, whenever you're trying to perceive and you're like maybe the person's in a sewer, like you happen to like have like just a whole bunch of sewage just fall into your face while you're sniffing around.
I will say one thing that I unrelated about OBS's system I have set up that I think kind of sucks now is that the chat window is super smushed, and no matter how far I stretch it out, it stays consistently smushed.
Yeah, messing around with OBS is kind of fucking weird.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an issue with like nat 1s and nat 20s because it's like on one hand you don't want you don't want to invalidate the fact that they had a completely random chance to either hit it big or fuck up completely, but at the same time if you make it too harsh or too good, I don't know, it might kind of skew their expectations a little bit for certain scenarios and situations.
Yeah, this is why I think they do like the complication system in Narrative Declaration, which is like my main frame of reference for these kinds of games. So I'm gonna mention it a lot. I don't watch Critical Role. For a while I was watching like The Unexpectables, which was the thing like Takahata was doing. But anyway, so the thing with complication is it's not really that you like get like a failure that's like egregious. It's more so you had a bout of like bad luck and an unfortunate circumstance happened.
I see.
So it's more narrative. Like there is like mechanical stuff that they add, but it's a much more narrative complication.
Most of what made my 20 specials were Homestuck, Silver Age X-Men, and GTA San Andreas. Damn, okay.
But I hope that what I think the good-ish news is I figured out a weird chat like widget thing for my hunter campaign, so when I look on the screen, my own screen by the way, I can see chat and it's not smushed. So that's cool. Also,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
there's something part of this I forgot to show off when it comes to like my mod setup, and it's something I rarely tap into that I should probably mess around with more. And that's my vampire mod because it overhauls a bunch of vampire stuff, but it also overhauls the vampire lord. The form I have a gripe with because I go from lizard man to like winged Count Orlok, and it's like, this is a person.
Oh, you know, that's part of the transformation. You become more human-like.
These are all the perks they add for Vampire Lord.
Oh god, I misread that as penis as power.
So, Bone...
Cock power! Cock power!
Bone, I want you to see if some of these names seem familiar.
How much of this is taken from Vampire the Masquerade?
Look at this
I
one.
see Auspex, but to be fair, Auspex is not inherently like just a Vampire the Masquerade. Like that is a thing I've heard in a bunch of settings. Okay, now it's starting to get a little.
And
now it's
then
starting to get a little legally distinct.
and then
Not
there
legally distinct.
and then there's
White
That's
Wolf.
great. That's great. Embrace the Beast. Okay. Foster child. Okay.
I forget what other stuff there is. There's also
Why can't you motherfuckers just make your own Vampire the Masquerade game? Just make your own spiritual successor already. It is money on the table. I have not seen a single person try to emulate Masquerade.
I mean, you say that, but there's literally a Skyrim mod that's trying to make a full, like, it's trying to make a full
it's a
conversion
remake
to
of an
VTM.
already made game.
except not.
Of VTM? Shit.
No, it's a
No, not
remake.
VTM.
It was a remake of Redemption, but White Wolf said, yeah, you can use the Vampire the Masquerade brand, and then Activision was like, no, you can't use the Redemption thing. Fuck you. And they're having to just make it.
Title.
They're making their own thing. They're changing up the script, and they've said, yeah, they're kind of doing their own thing. They're doing their own VTM kind of thing. That's similar.
This is one of the times where I'm going, thank you, Activision, for shutting it down. Because I want them to make their own thing.
Why?
And
What?
also, yeah,
They're making their own VTM things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a game called Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, which is like I don't know what that type of game is. Like if you look at a trailer for it, it's kind of weird. It's like a strategy game, I guess.
It's, from what I understand, most VTM games are usually like they're just kind of
They're books.
They're narrative RPGs, which is a fun way of saying that they're words, but you have stats.
Yeah, it's like there's like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is the only game of its type within like the Vampire the Masquerade setting, or really the World of Darkness setting. There is no other game like it. I can't think of a single other, like, not even indie game that has tried to emulate it.
Unfortunately, making that type of game is really hard.
Not if you got a good writer. If you got a good writer, it's literally just walking around and talking to people.
Like mechanically, because VTM has a lot more going on than just walking and talking to people.
Not really.
VTMB, I would say there's a little bit there. Also, the only thing I'll say before I really get into this is, for Noir's sake, here's the Exsanguinate perk that you're fond of.
What is VTMB other than walking and talking and bad combat?
I mean, if you look at it from a role-playing game perspective,
did you play it?
Yes, I've played it. I know.
Okay, good.
I understand that the combat is bad.
When did you play it?
Like eons ago. I didn't get too far into it, but I have played the game before.
Okay, I thought that me and AC were the only ones that played it.
I have touched it, I've looked at it, and I understand what it is, in that it's trying to be kind of similar to Deus Ex in a certain way.
God, so I've only seen Deus Ex, so now this is the part where I go, okay, I've seen it, but I have not played
Deus
it.
Ex,
But Deus Ex feels way more mechanically like involved.
Oh no, it is definitely, but I think the thing is that like Deus Ex is also very much like you have the capacity to walk around, talk to people, but there's also mechanical things as well, which VTMB also has. It's just that it's not quite as dense or necessarily within the same kind of way, but it's like, you know, there's different kinds of combat, you have different abilities that you can unlock and kind of work through. You have
They're pretty fucking basic. Huh.
They're basic, but would you believe it or not, I think Deus Ex's abilities are also relatively basic, but it's the nature of how you acquire them that makes it meaningful, and how you can use it to actually customize and change up your character, so that each time you run through the game, it feels a little more unique, because you can do that. It's just that, unfortunately, VTMB is hamstrung by the fact that at a certain point in the story, you are completely obligated to play bad first-person shooter with a Chinese demon.
Yeah, you can just cut that out and basically make a walking simulator, though. Like, if you boil it down to its basics, like, the basics are the most fun, which is just walking and talking.
You know what fucks me up? Oh. I was
No,
just,
okay, no, you go first. You go first. Okay.
I was gonna say, in VTMB2, they're like, we got people whose only experience is making walking simulators in the Source engine. I'm like, oh, okay, that could be a decent team up for VTMB. It's not on the Source engine. I'm like, then why the fuck did you get this team?
Also, they fucking showed like the gameplay where they're doing fucking ora
It's
clashes and
Dishonored.
shit. Mm-hmm.
They should just call it Vampire the Masquerade, like, Dishonored or Disembraced or some shit.
I mean, the funny thing about that is that it's like, you know, that is like Dishonored is also relatively close to a bit of like what the initial idea for what VTMB is. And I think the core thing is that is yes, it is true. You can, on a fundamental level, play through the entire game through using like social manipulation and running around and talking to people and stuff like that. But you know, but like stealth is an option, guns are an option, melee is an option. You have a multitude of options and abilities in how you can handle certain scenarios. It isn't just walking and talking to people. That being said, is it mechanically good in those other bits? Not as much as you'd like it to be, but it is definitely a factor and a part of the game. And that's where it's also like games like Deus Ex, like Fallout 3, like New Vegas. It's just that, you know, it's
But here's the thing. So,
What's up,
okay,
yeah.
I have not played a lot of Disco Elysium, but I feel like you could just make like a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines Disco
Oh,
Elysium.
shit!
Oh no, yeah, for sure. Like
that's what I'm
100%,
saying. It's like
yeah.
you can cut out the combat. You don't even need to do combat
Mhm.
if you wanted to make your spiritual successor VTMB, because the combat isn't important.
Well,
'Cause,
so I think
I think the combat adds some cool set pieces, but ultimately, if you are making a spiritual successor, you barely you can add shooting, you can do fists, but I think like the core of the game shows that it doesn't even need to be good.
so. I think that's
You
kind of
can
the
make it intentionally bad.
that's kind of the unfortunate bit with a lot of games like those, because a lot of the core design intention was that they wanted to replicate the feeling of what you could do in the tabletop, which makes sense. A lot of other games around that time frame were doing stuff that was kind of similar. Fallout was fundamentally based on GURPS, although it's not literally the same because of copyright issues, but it was a thing that they did want to do. Of course, you also have like plenty of other like tabletop stuff that's kind of like that. VTM kind of still has something that's like similar to that with all the other games. It's just that it's mainly focused in narrative aspects and things like that. From what I understand, those are also kind of like just text-based RPGs where you just walk around and talk to people, but you do have like social stats and things of that particular nature. I'd have to double check, but like I think that's kind of what they were trying to go for, and what makes it very ambitious, but unfortunately stretched super thin. I think it reminds me a bit of like how they kind of designed Deus Ex, the way that they did. Funny enough, they actually made shooting intentionally bad in that game because they don't want it to feel like the only option. That's what happened with that's why Mankind Divided and like Human Revolution are so kind of contentious, because they put too much focus into the combat, which takes away from all the other stuff that Deus Ex was trying to do. And where I can kind of see where a little bit of your frustration's coming from with with Bloodlines 2, because based off of that trailer, they care a lot about the combat. Like they put
And the narrative seems cringe.
Yeah, and the narrative seems cringe. Like, they put shitloads of effort. I wouldn't be surprised if VTMB2 is just Deus Ex Human Revolution, but again.
One thing they need to show is the map. Like, the map is, like, just as important in Bloodlines 1 as, like, the gameplay. Like, and the narrative. Because I feel like if they show a map and it looks promising, a little bit of my hope can be restored.
But, I mean, for the record, I would personally, I'd be a bit more fond of Vampire the Masquerade 2 if it was like a healthy mixture of different gameplay styles, because I like it when games provide me with like multiple options and ways to kind of go through these kind of things. I'm very much a ride or die. I'm an immersive sim dick rider, even if that isn't necessarily the most functional genre, I guess the word would be. It's just that it's kind of unfortunate because making that particular genre of video game making that particular genre of game that like VTMB is in and other stuff like that is really, really hard. And you either just barely manage to like catch that feeling that like makes it perfect or makes it like workable, or you kind of futzed it up. Which it seems like VTMB kind of happened with, because like you're talking about like how dialogue and conversation is the best part of that game, which makes sense. But it's like, when you look at other examples of it, yeah, and the vibes. But like when you look at other stuff like that, where it's like Deus Ex actually has like a pretty solid mixture of like all these different kinds of gameplay elements with like conversation and stealth and action and all that kind of stuff. Fallout, obviously that's more of a role-playing game than being an immersive sim, but there is like that kind of degree of like build creation and how you can kind of influence your gameplay through how you kind of customize yourself a little bit. And I think if VTM has a lot of different examples it can kind of look to now if they wanted to try and make something like that and admittedly kind of ape it a little bit, they could do it. And then they would just need a good writer, at the very least, like a solid gameplay designer to kind of take all those ideas and coalesce them and hone them into a fine stew of free-form gameplay bullshit. But it's a fucking hard thing to pull off at the end of the day.
I think I'd be more excited if they didn't have Bloodlines 2 as the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the same thing that happened with like Thief Fourth.
Like, I don't know if it was the producer or some Paradox guy, but even like the higher ups were saying, well, it's more of a spiritual successor. I'm like, why are you calling it Bloodlines 2 then?
I think it's unfortunate because, you know something, if you really want a 3D game space where you walk around and overcome the trials, Pathologic is right there. It's just that it's not vampires is the problem.
Yeah, but that game's made to be stressful. I don't like time limit.
I mean, I think it's kind of funny because I think it wouldn't be it wouldn't necessarily be that difficult to transpose a system like that into a vampire setting, admittedly with a bit less stress in it. Like, rather than making the stress limit the stress time, you can make it things like being out in the sun, being recognized as a vampire, having to climb through people's houses and crawl around like a little ghoul or a goblin. Like, imagine an experience like that, but like you're playing as a Nosferatu and you're trying really hard to fucking
not get spotted.
You're a little monster. Sure, yeah, you're a little monster, man.
I would be down for like a mechanic that's like, okay, you gotta get inside before the sun gets up, as long as they can find a way to not make that tedious.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Holy
shit. I think that's the core. No, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. What's up?
I was gonna say, I forgot I had the mod of something that should be accounted for like ages ago, and that's beast race skeletons. Also,
yeah, exactly.
check this out. This is a skeleton ghost with a hand cannon on it out.
I thought that was a fish.
That's a gun. That's a hand cannon. And he's like a ghost skeleton with a ghost gun. What the fuck is
that's pretty rad.
I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, VTM game. I feel like the potential's there.
It's like yes, it's Vampire Bloodlines more than just the walking and talking, sure. But if you're making a spiritual successor, I feel like you can just get away with walking and talking. If you are a small team, I think like you can get away with doing just walking and talking.
I think it's more not necessarily like explain what you're trying to say here, but it's like the vibe of you want them to play to the strengths of the original game, rather than having all the same bells and whistles as before, which is fine. I get that.
Spiritual successors can still be different.
They don't need to be the same mechanically, but they can have elements of the original game and what made it good.
The What We Do in the Shadows game.
You are by far the most dastardly villain I've encountered. You're literally a vampire, dude.
I gotta watch that show, and I think it has a movie.
I believe it's the movie than the TV show.
I like the energy vampire guy. That's really funny.
I think there's kind of a weird dichotomy between stealth games because it's like you have what I would describe as fast-paced stealth and Thief. Because Thief is very keen on like making you take your sweet time and wait it out and being very methodical and like making sure you know what your guards' patterns are up to because like you don't have a bunch of crazy spells and mumbo jumbo. You have a blackjack, you have a couple of magic arrows, you have a couple of crazy arrows and a dream. But like in most other games, you have like, here's a fucking little doodad that you throw and it attracts enemies to the position because they see a glass bottle get thrown at them and they're a bunch of fucking idiots.
I mean, Thief also has the noise arrow.
Oh no, yeah, of course.
But it's a lot slower. It's meant more of like, yeah. There's either the Thief where it's you plan out everything and you tiptoe real slow, or you have like the Batman Arkham stealth where when you go at it, you take down the entire thing in like under a minute. Granted, to be fair, Batman is supposed to be like a fucking nightmare of a stealth character.
What's the deal with absolute Batman?
What if Batman was poor?
What if Batman was well off but not rich? He is a head of a construction. He is a big like construction manager, but he's not the CEO. So he's not like a suit, but he has a good paying job and he lives in his house with his mom.
I just knew about like him being in the working class, and isn't his like suit nuts or something?
Yeah, he has like. He's got like weird little spiky things that pop out of it from time to time.
Also, so do you remember the whole thing about how in Robert Pattinson's The Batman, his suit has the bat that comes out of his chest and he uses it?
Yeah.
What if the suit took that concept and just put that on fucking steroids, much like the Batman himself?
So,
He's not actually on
does he have the
steroids.
squirrel suit? Does he have the squirrel suit? That's like a glider.
The
squirrel glider.
the Batman symbol on his chest turns into an axe.
I see.
No.
Does this Batman kill?
No, he just mutilates. He doesn't kill.
He mutilates.
He cuts a guy's hand off, but he tells him where the hospital is so he doesn't die.
Okay.
The core idea of the Absolute franchise is maintaining what makes them that character from like a moral and fun perspective while changing their origins. Like Wonder Woman isn't she's not a Valkyrie, or she's not a Valkyrie. She's not an Amazonian. She is from hell. She's a demon woman.
Wait,
and she has a
H-E-L or H-E-L-L?
like Hell. Like she is a demon woman
the
with a
Christian
great
hell.
Like she is a demon woman with a cool great sword. It's a bit like Magic from Marvel, kind of.
Is she a
aesthetically.
good guy?
She's still a good guy. That's the important part.
She fights
Still a good
demons and
person.
kills them.
Yeah.
But also I want to talk about Absolute Batman's suit because it's also fucking nuts. Like, okay, so his ears on the bat suit can disconnect from the mask and form little daggers. And his cape's the nutty part because his cape is like built of a special material where he can stand on it and lift himself up on it. He can like float with it, but he can also grab people with the hooked ends of the cape. Like he can grab somebody underneath their like ankle and like yank them and like disorient them and throw them off their balance. He can also. Yeah.
Really quickly, Namara's also added in that she had to learn dark magic to make up for not having Amazon training. Apologies for cutting you off.
No problem. I think about Absolute Batman is he's also like ripped, and something that they do that's kind of interesting is they go over his origin, and they show like the different like stuff that he went through. Like his first variation, like his first Batman outfit was him being a fake vampire. And he was like, okay, maybe like biting people and being a fake vampire, that maybe that's not a good idea. And then
really goofy.
And then he went to a normal outfit before he got buff, and he essentially just became like a normal Batman. And then he started like lifting, and then he lifted more, and then he worked more on his suit with his like construction knowledge, and then he became the Absolute Batman that we know. Another thing is his Batmobile is a fucking huge vehicle. Like,
You were gonna say it's like a junk.
So I have to post the Absolute Batmobile because it's definitely somebody who was able to build this from construction, but built it outside of everybody's like views and whatnot. This is the Absolute
Holy shit!
That is
Yo,
where
it's
do you
the
hide
fucking. That reminds me of the fucking like crazy driller mining rig that you use in fucking Dead Space 2 to get through like to dig into like the private sector specifically.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I fucking love that.
How does he hide it?
Because he works in construction, Bone, and he also has worked in various jobs and politicians, so he knows exactly like every in and out of like the city and like underground, and because he's working on constructing it, he was able to build like caverns and shit to hide this.
He still has a bat cave.
Only for this vehicle. It's essentially like a bat garage for this vehicle, and his mainline bat cave is on like a under construction skyscraper, that he's working on, for like the city, and he just has the computer there. And because he's also like the head of construction, it's in such a way where normal people can't get to it. Also,
Is he also friends with his buddy with the villains?
The villains in this timeline are his old childhood friends. Like, Killer Croc runs the boxing gym they hang out at. The Riddler is like a computer nerd that he's friends with. Harvey Dent, I think, is like a rookie when it comes to political stuff, but also still like chill with him. And Black Cat is Selena Kyle's old childhood friend as well.
Icon.
So this is Absolute Batman. So in this timeline, like those are like they're like his childhood friends, because after the death of his father, he became recluse and from everybody else, so they were the only people that were able to make a connection with him. That and his mother, who is still around.
Oh, cool.
Also,
So Martha's still alive?
yeah, Martha's still alive in this timeline. It's only his dad who died, and he died, and the incident happened at a zoo. And while
at the bat exhibit.
the bat exhibit was the only one with like a emergency lock door, or one of the only ones with it that was nearby. So he's trapped in the bat exhibit. Well, like his father locks him into the bat exhibit, but so the shooter can't get to him. So he's trapped in the bat exhibit while his father gets shot. And then, and of course, so there's the visuals with the bats and whatnot. So that's how he gets that imagery.
Who wrote this?
Scott Snyder. It's a spin-off, so it's supposed to be different. That's why he's wrote it out. And like I said earlier, it's why his bat symbol is an axe. Or can turn into an axe.
That reminds me, I need to look into. I was told that like Absolute Martian Manhunter just came out, and it's apparently like really interesting, actually.
It looked really interesting. I know nothing about it.
I'm assuming you saw the cover art for the comic, right?
I
remember
saw
seeing that on
that.
News Guy. Yeah, that looks cool as shit, actually.
I saw that and I was all like, I like this. I want to check out the rest of it, but unfortunately I've only been locking into Absolute Batman mainly. But one thing I noticed that's interesting is Black Mask is redone, where he's like a higher end like rich criminal, but also everybody who works for him has a skull mask. So like during the first encounter with like the goons, it's just a bunch of people, and their whole thing is they're called like the party animals that are dressed in suits and shit, and they have the skull mask on.
Why would they be called party animals if they all had skull masks?
The skulls are based off of like various different like stuff, and it's also like kind of hinting at like that they're also really like kind of fucked up and almost like
So
sadistic in nature when it comes to how they carry shit out.
animal skulls.
Not all of them.
Yeah, they have those fucking Zoo Pals plates on them from the advertisements.
But apparently, the volume 6 is going to cover Mr. Freeze, and I saw him, and I'm very curious. I am very curious how they're going to write their version of Mr. Freeze, because he seems different.
How different are we talking here?
Very. He's almost. I get say like the comic isn't out yet, so they've only showed a teaser. So the only thing I can say, he's built like Mr. Bloom for anybody in the audience. So
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
okay, so I will spoiler mark it, but here is the wait, that's the party. Let me damn you phone. Let me download the image. Fine, I'll screen. I'll fucking.
Yeah, I'm looking him up. Oh wow. So you said to spoiler mark this the new Martian Manhunter.
Oh no, not Manhunter. The Mr. Freeze.
Oh wait. Okay.
I'll post the Mr. Freeze. I finally got it, but if you look in live main roll and you want to go past the spoiler mark,
What is that?
that's Mr. Freeze.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh,
What they're
that's
doing, but
fucking cool.
they've got
No
new
pun
spices and tactics.
intended.
The
Wait, was Absolute Martian Manhunter mentioned during this
That is
conversation?
some,
Yes, I brought it up because I thought it looked fucking.
that
It's
is
cool as
some-
shit.
that's
Okay, that's cool.
also
Whoa, he's cooking in the comic department.
also here's a shot of the party. There's also a shot of the party animals.
Oh, they're on the Joker staircase.
Yeah,
What the fuck
Dude,
am I
it's-
looking at here?
the Black Maskoons. Also, one thing I will say is apparently the
No,
cannot.
I mean, Absolute Martian Manhunter. What the fuck with the
Oh.
clay figure over there in the bottom right?
I was gonna say that the canonical explanation for the Absolute World is apparently it is something that was spawned due to Darkseid shenanigans. So like you literally have Darkseid to thank for having all of this canonically.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
dark
I
side, you
really
funny
like
little
this
goober.
Martian Manhunter. It's very like it's almost like a Picasso.
It looks
I
like a
am-
Ben 10 alien.
I am actually kind of liking it.
Oh hey Bone, guess what ability I unlocked?
What?
I am
Oh, yep,
actually just
there's another
kind
one.
of really digging this version of Absolute Martian Manhunter. I am,
Mhm.
yeah, I am loving that.
It
What
looks
if
like he's
there's-
out of like a old timey like art piece, like a Picasso or something that what's it called? What's the art, like almost like an Art Deco look, for lack of better
Mhm.
words, like
I think you had it right when you first said Picasso because Art Deco is something completely different.
yeah, you know what? Like he looks like he's on like one of those ancient Greek vases, almost. Like
What
with
if
the very
Gumby was a...
simplified character design, very
Plus,
geometric.
honestly, if you want to talk Art Deco,
I want to say, isn't that like more of like that weird like 50s like aesthetic look,
It's
like
environmental, but
Bioshock?
it's environmental, but I thought there was like also like depictions of people within Art Deco styles.
Not to my memory.
Dolly. You might be thinking of Dolly. It's
Maybe.
Serena.
Salvador Dali, yeah. What if Gumby was a little bit fucked up? Yeah, he is also. He also
You
kind of giving
not
Gumby,
fucking
yeah.
Talk to me about Gumby. I will kill you where you.
Oh,
Yeah,
do
he does
not
look like a dolly.
Fuck Gumby.
also, I just realized that Obfuscate, this ability's fucking nut overpowered as shit. I can stay invisible while killing people?
Damn.
This is Skyrim, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been streaming modded
This is
Skyrim the whole
Skyrim.
time.
Called it.
I mean, I literally announced in my chat hours ago, hey, I'm gonna be playing some modded Skyrim. And I'm still
Oh,
invisible. I'm still...
Sorry.
Oh well.
I didn't know.
I'm still invisible. I can tell the
Nice.
barrel's still there.
I was
It's
just
okay.
relaxing and listening to some yacht rock.
Huh? Yes. The habits of old people.
No, I just really like listening to yacht rock and not really giving a damn about anything.
Damn, okay.
Yes. Oh, no. Also, hey, I got some blood. Okay, there we go. My invisibility's gone. I can tell because the barrel blew up.
Then I started just listening to some lo-fi hip-hop so that way I could just keep relaxing and let the flow go in for it.
You want to get some studying done?
No, lo-fi hip-hop puts me to sleep.
Oh, hey, I got my cool vampire spell now. Bone shards.
Bone shards?
You got shards of bone, yeah.
Yeah, their blood spikes up, and it, like, breaks through their bones and it kills them.
Shit.
Also, funny thing is I have a mod that adds new weapon varieties with new animations. I haven't used any of them because I'm built into the dagger build, but
Nice.
oh yeah, I'm invisible still. Nemesis unavailable. Amphibious.
You just noticed you're still invisible. About less than a minute ago, you said I am still invisible.
I mean, the barrel blew up. Hey, Bo, guess what I found? I found another one.
Yep, there's another one. There's another VTM one.
New bisexual powers.
Morag tongs, secret armor. I'm asleep in the bed that reflected my vampiric power. Am I just invisible forever now?
Good job.
Nice.
Let's see. I haven't explored the, actually I have explored it somewhat. Nah. This is the only player home mod I have, and that's because there's an option where you can level up some stats, and I do that to catch up if I'm playing a newer character. So I'm like, alright, I just want to get to this level, I just want my build. That's a good starting point.
Okay, so Noir has only heard Gordon. Wait, really? Only Gordon Lightfoot?
Hi, Robert.
I think they need to bring back starting builds in the next Elder Scrolls game.
Oh no, Astrid has the fucking weird blackface glitch going on.
Oh damn!
Is that fucking blackface? Dude?
No, it's Noob Cybot. It's Noob Cybot.
Noob's the one that's made of smoke, right?
No, wait, he's made of like darkness and shit.
It also sounds like this.
Also, he's voiced by what's his face?
He was busted in MK9.
Steely Dan's pretty good. I've just heard Peg way too many fucking times in my life.
Noob is also pretty good in MK10 as well, or MK11. Yeah.
Wilds runs great on my machine. Sure wish it did for others.
Yeah, no.
Let me rephrase. Sure wish it did for everyone else.
What's the last monster you fought?
Whatever. I'm just talking about fucking Yacht Rock with
Gross-ass
no
oil monster.
Oh yeah, you fought the fucking
Gross-ass oil bird.
Fucking. I want to keep calling it the fucking Popoyo Poro, but that's not what it's called. I know which one you mean though.
Alright.
No, the Pompopolo, that's right, yeah.
The monster that the US would hunt to extinction if it could.
Oh no, okay, looks like this guy's like invisible forever now, because he went invisible at the right time.
iPod is named after Boone and Tobias. Who
Yeah.
Yeah, Boone.
That's like that's the oldest one in like the book.
I'm surprised you didn't know.
Alright.
I did not know that, and I didn't know that was their name spelled backwards.
Alright, I'm gonna do the Dark Brotherhood kill, but here's the thing. I am not going to kill that person but myself. I will let someone else do it.
I feel like at this point in my life, I should know what something spelled backwards is.
They resisted it.
How about my otherworldly shadow friends? Something to say about that.
Also, you guys want to see a picture of an adorable puppy?
I do like puppies.
Always. You don't get to watch chat.
Back. I'm trying to see if there's anything, is there any...
Cute buddy.
If there's any fucked up spell I can do to them.
My coworker's new little bitty puppy,
What?
It's Malty, Yorkie, and Shih Tzu.
Also, orange for some reason.
Multi-Shoe was
Also
the
orange
designer
for
breed
some
name,
reason.
and they named her Coco Chanel.
Orange. Also, I keep calling Eric Shinji.
Oh,
She was so
geez.
tiny.
Yeah, fuck you, chat. You don't get to see this doggy. Only we do.
Also, my
She's just baby puppy. She's baby.
damn
Her
it,
name is Coco.
my fucking health, my fucking mana keeps draining super fast for some reason because of this fucking stupid telekinesis spell.
Isn't
Stop
the
using
telekinesis spell one of like the best ways to train alteration early?
You know what? I'm just going to say I have a real. Alright. My magical bar is gonna be really big for this one.
Ooh boy.
There we go. There we go. I wanted to get that gravity gun kill real quick.
Oh, jeez.
Whoops. I did not mean to kill him.
Too bad you already did, and unless you know some necromancy spells, you might want to reconsider some stuff.
I actually do know some necromancy spells, thankfully enough.
Go to the necromancy of Fae.
Let me go to my, I have a really expensive staff I've considered selling before, but, now I'm kind of glad I didn't sell it. Staff of Courage, lesser reanimation. Hey, he's good as new.
Does he have free will over his body at this point?
You bet
though?
your ass he doesn't. That's the point of necromancy, baby.
He said he did. He told me you better have necromancy. You didn't ask me anything else. Isn't that right, little guy?
You have it. I wasn't asking that you should have it.
Necromancy is the control of the dead. This guy isn't gonna get free will. This guy is for us. This guy's ours.
He's for the boys.
Yeah, and his soul's in the fucking soul cairn now, I think. Yeah. I'll be seeing your ass in the soul cairn if I get around to that, or if Bethesda remembers. Because I know your ass will be there.
Why do I get the feeling that I've got the most law-abiding side of at least alignment among you guys?
You could always be a little
Con, that
more
makes
fun,
you
Con.
evil. There's
Yeah.
no way the law in this medieval fantasy world is not corrupt.
There's also racist, and he's a pile of ash. He's a pile of
Con,
ash.
this makes you racist if you follow the law in this world.
I mean, there's two factions. There's the kind of racist, and then there's there's a little extra racist.
Yeah, Con, no matter what, you being lawful is making you racist.
I mean, that's if you pick a side in
Con
the Civil
says
War.
that she loves the cops.
Gah,
Don't take the bit too far. She'll actually take you seriously.
gah.
Dude, seriously, what the hell, man?
And this guy,
Joking.
Con, this is a medieval fantasy world. I am talking about the medieval cops.
I'm talking about in general, at least, outside of
Con,
the game.
we're talking about the philosophy, like the morality of necromancy.
you know, it's considering this ash pile and how like dirty the floor is, it's like he kind of blends in. He's like a part of the cabin now. Hey, Con, you're the one who wanted me to. You asked me if I had any necromancy, and
I think you do it.
I mean, I have the staff. Figured why not? You know what? Should I bring him back too, Con?
Oh my god. please
You
don't
see,
leave that
Con,
madness
like,
to me.
AC engaging in necromancy means he's not racist.
Con, like,
What the hell kind of
Con, this
fucking
is
logic is that?
Con, this is like a fictional setting. It's okay to be a little bit fucked up and evil for funnies.
It's okay to be a little racist in fantasy.
You have to be able to separate fiction from reality.
I can't believe Astrid's wearing red guard face right now.
Oh, Jesus.
And the entire stream was worth it for my red guard face joke.
Oh,
Ah, the
Parts of
sun.
black people, Con.
Ah, the sun, it burns. The sun.
Isn't that how you
Are
feel
you
every day?
Argonian AC?
Yes, I would show you better if I wasn't in a weird state of permanent invisibility.
Which
Does the
I
invisibility
really
actually
don't
work?
get.
At least.
It does, yes.
Okay, poggers.
But something that's unfortunate is you're missing out on my my thing that gives me more accuracy, aka with my bows, aka the do-rag of accuracy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, my do-rag of accuracy.
You're wearing a do-rag in a fantasy setting?
I mean, yeah, I just woke up with it.
Also, that's not hard to believe.
Yeah, this
Forgive
isn't the
me if I've been
division where the
confused.
where
Look,
the beanie gives you an extra like shooting.
I mean,
Forgive me if I've been stuck with other fantasy stereotypes for a while.
This is a pretty common fantasy stereotype of just innocuous piece of clothing gives benefit.
I have never
Wait.
heard of a do-rag in a fantasy
Wow, how have
setting.
you
You're
never
still
heard of this?
invisible.
wait,
It's just wrapping your head with a rag. Like Forge Masters do that all the time.
wait
To
a,
keep
They
the
don't call it
sweat.
a
What?
do-rag.
wait a fucking minute.
Ugh, God, man,
Something's
it's-
happening. That
Oh,
permanent
what?
invisibility is carrying across saves.
Could this just be a bug?
I think it's a bug. It's not supposed.
Bug.
Can you cast the invisibility again? Maybe it'll turn off like after it wears off.
Wow, I really feel like this is a bug now.
Oh, it's Skyrim.
Homeland of
It's
the
modded
bugs.
Skyrim.
Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back. We're not invisible. Anyway,
Alright,
Okay,
show
you're
us the
good
do-rag
now.
Oh,
of
that's a lot of shit
accuracy.
you got on.
check out my.
Of course you're not.
Every Skyrim modder got the backpack mod. Backpack mod. Backpack mod.
Me, I got a cape mod.
Also, I have a
That's
thing.
capable of using backpacks.
Also, I have a thing that where all my favorite items are on my person.
Are you your D&D
Oh, that's
character right now?
cool.
No, I'm not. D&D character would have a bluer head, not the red stripe. Also,
Is
yeah,
he a lizard man in D&D?
I'm a
Yeah,
dragonborn.
I'd be paying better attention if I wasn't fighting lightning dragon.
He's an Argonian.
Also-
Well, he's not an Argonian. He's a Dragonborn in D&D.
Wait,
clear
Con,
one.
have you played any
I
other
mean,
Scrolls games?
Argonian,
I-
Dragonborn, all of you look the same.
There's,
saw-
you know, there's lizard folk in D&D, right?
I saw a friend of mine play a little bit of it, but he had the PS3 version that was super glitchy.
You see, that's
We
my.
had the Skyrim version of Skyrim.
He had the. So do my guide. Okay, AC's guide to Skyrim. Step 1: don't play the PS3 copy. Just don't do it.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
actually
we
like
found that
known
out
to be
partly.
awful?
It's
A lot
like
of
god
games
awful.
A lot of games are known to be awful on the PS3.
The PS3 was notoriously awful to optimize
Work
games
with.
for.
Especially if the game was already unoptimized as shit, like Skyrim. Also,
I think
yeah.
the funniest version of that
Normally
is the funniest
See,
version of that is Drakengard 3 because that is a game that was made for the PS3 specifically.
See, normally I'd go ahead and try to defend the PS3, but in this case, you are absolutely right. A lot of games on the PS3 that were optimized for it work poorly as shit.
Also, check out my little cloth physics on my outfit.
Oh, is that
Ma-
special editions? Are you playing the special edition?
Oh, the outfit's a mod. It's a drip. It was a drip that adds in some Morrowind gear, so I went to Solstheim to go get some drip. And I got a mod,
Because last time I remember playing modded Skyrim was like there was only one cape mod with cloth physics, and it was like really special for that.
And it uses HD TSMP for its physics, though, I'm going to be real, most people do not get its physics for the cloth variety, if you catch my drift.
I see.
I
Oh,
do
oh.
not.
Also because
Boobs, Con, boobs.
also, ass and titties. But also, I have these boots, and they're normal weather boots, so the drip isn't there. But because they're the boots of Spring Hill Jack, and for some reason, the expansion mod let me keep them, I just have a permanent set of boots that lets me run real fast.
Yeah.
And even when I'm sneaking, I'm going like, and when I'm sneaking, it slows me down, but when I jump while sneaking, the slowdown is like gone, so I can essentially just like hop while sneaking. Also, although I'm mainly although I'm doing first person to show off the third person show off the character, I mainly like the first person combat mods because that's the mode I play in.
I remember this one dodge mod that was like really janky, but it was cool. It was called TK Dodge.
I remember TK Dodge.
What was the other one? The other TK mod that gives each weapon special moves?
I forgot that
TK
one.
Combat, there we go.
Yeah.
It was just total TK Combat. I remember, I think one of the great sword moves could like launch enemies, and it was really funny.
Because I also have Ordinator, which lets me do a little roll, but also my sneak attacks do more damage under that roll.
What I remember with the TK dodge mods, you could set the animation to either be a roll or a step.
I went with the step because the roll was weird in first person, but we can use first person animations, baby. There's also other weapons that have been added. Animated Armory, which adds in a brand new sets of weapons with their own animations. Look at that. That's first person. But third person, it has its own moveset.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, there's the it adds the claws, which are the fist weapons. It adds the halberd.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, just that. Oh wait, was that a stab that I saw?
Yeah, it's a stab. It's a swing and then a stab. Swing and then stab. And first person, it's in first person, it's just swinging. But yeah, in third person, there's a little stab with it.
Nice.
There's also. Let me go. A little rapier. Which in third, I have a first person combat mod, so it changed the animations, but look at third person, he's doing a little thrust.
Oh, nice. I don't remember Skyrim mods being this sophisticated.
When I go for my mods, I only go for quality.
Nice.
Then
again, back in my day when I was modding the game.
I remember back when I was still playing on Legendary Edition, where the most I had was a cool heavy armor, and like Midas magic was the most mind-blowing thing ever.
Oh yeah, Midas magic!
I need to get that again.
I always got it for the Resurrect mod so I could play with the NPCs' lives.
I do it so if like an NPC died, I'm like, wait, I need that for a quest, I can bring it back. There's also this weapon, the Blackjack. It knocks people unconscious with a sneak attack. The cool thing is that there is this quest mod I have, the Grey Cow Nocturnal. You get a bonus for not killing enemies. When you knock them out, it doesn't count as a kill, and this is a separate thing. So I just basically cheated and went around knocking people out.
Does it also spawn in the hookers?
It does not spawn in the hookers.
Damn. Do you need to download the sex mods for the blackjack to spawn the hookers?
God. Oh, I can't wait to do it. Also, Robu, I have a vampire mod. I was going through it. Let me move this to nighttime.
the WAD brain rot hit you?
Oh, it didn't hit me. It hit
Maybe-
the creator of this mod because I'm gonna turn into a vampire lord really quickly and show you the perks.
What the hell?
Yeah, this is something you do.
Sounds so flabbergasted.
So Roboot, does this look familiar?
Spectre.
So Roboot, does this look familiar?
Celebrity.
Like, Auspex isn't even the crazy one. It's all. the
So Roboot, does this look familiar?
White Wolf.
White Wolf.
So Roboot.
They're just wearing it on
For
their sleeve.
context, White Wolf is the publisher of the World of Darkness series, which is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline.
Okay, I figured it was something related to that. I just didn't know what.
You also get a thing that gives you a bonus to illusion spells when you're a vampire at a certain level called Dominate.
Why are your wings so bony?
I'm a vampire lord.
Vampire lords are weird in Skyrim.
If they're bony, how can you fly?
Magic. They're magical
Con,
vampire gods.
it's a fantasy.
God, for Christ's sake.
Khan, do you see that moon? That is either a dead god or a hole of where a god entered and left this universe.
Do you have whimsy in your heart connect?
Look at
I
all.
don't think she does.
Khan, do you know what stars are in the Elder Scrolls?
The souls of all the dead people looking down at you?
No, they're holes they're related to like gods and shit. I forget. I remember hearing that they're holes where gods have entered and left, or they're the corpses of dead gods. They're one or the other.
Huh.
There's also a theory where they're believed to be the tears into the veil of oblivion that lead to Aetherius.
Words.
So yes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is even the very stars above us are subject to the laws of fantasy here.
I love proper noun.
Also, I get all these illusion spells. So Roboot. Oh shit, Mudcrab. Let's see if I can sneak up on it. Anytime I go invisible, I have a perk to where it places a little barrel. When I decloak, it explodes and scales off my sneak skill. So, do I know what this? I have Ordinator. Do you know about Ordinator?
I can't say I do.
It's a perk mod. This is what sneak looks like with Ordinator.
1 second.
Oh,
Oh, god damn it.
Broken is it?
That's my first feint of the game.
Dude's still out here. Go ahead and beam on us.
I was getting his ass beat. This is your selection.
Sneak mask, more visibility.
Your silent roll. There's also, if you want to go to abilities, there's the tripwire power, where it spawns a tripwire, and when an enemy runs up to it, it snaps, and they trip, and they go into ragdoll.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
There's also,
Those fog of war right behind you.
right behind you. Your sneaking's more effective when you're right behind them. Fog of War is sneaking is more effective against targets that are in combat with you. There's also dodge roll, where the silent roll you do makes you ethereal for 1 second, making all incoming attacks and
Iframe?
spells. It gives you iframes.
I see.
There's smoke screen, which is basically you have a power that lets you do a smoke bomb. Enemies can't see you, and sneak attacks do more damage. And here's party starter. When you gain invisibility, place a barrel of flammable booze at your location. When you lose invisibility, it explodes, dealing fire damage equal to 200% of your sneak skill level.
Man, what the fuck?
And staggering targets as a 15-second cooldown. There's also backstab and assassin's blades for daggers, where you do more damage with them while you sneak. There's also an ability where you can see humanoids who can see you. There's also this ability where anytime you do a silent roll, it leaves a trail of grease, and it staggers running enemies while and if they're sprinting, they slip and fall.
See, it all sounds cool, but I just can't see myself playing a game like this.
Con, this is excessively modded.
Oh, this is small as a hell and
No,
back.
Oh, I can definitely tell, but even then, I guess I don't gel with this kind of game.
To be fair, Skyrim is a pretty like dated RPG.
But anyway, so Roboot, lockpicking skill. It only does lockpicking, right?
Boring stuff.
There's a new build you can go with here. Bear traps. Able to pick up bear traps or create them at a forge or anvil and drop them from your inventory to place them. The teeth of the placed bear traps deal 2 points of damage per level of lockpicking. You can pick up and carry only 2 bear traps at a time. Then you can get an ability where they stagger people, and you can go for stuff like where they're more likely to hit smaller, fast-moving targets. And there's the bait power. At will, lures the nearest hostile target within 75 feet to the location of the nearest bear trap. Within 50 feet. There's also an ability to let you carry 3 bear traps. Or
Is that called the revenge?
probably a reference to something. Anyway, there's also bushwhack, which if the victim of your bear trap is not detecting you, the bear trap is 5 times as effective. And then there's Dragon's Teeth, where when you place it, you can choose and add 1 extra effect. Poison, drain magicka, drain stamina, slow, banish, or turn undead. The effect is triggered when the victim is struck by a teeth and takes damage. So yeah, if you're purely into lockpicking, you can have combat abilities. You can do bear traps.
Nice.
Pickpocketing, basically it makes it to where you get a cursed septum appears in your inventory. And if somebody else is possessing it, your attack deals 100% more damage and critical damage to them. So it's a pickpocket combat application.
The epitome of a sneaky bastard.
There's also speech. There's a Thum build you can do with it, and then talking to animals is another one, or being a bard.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. There's also
Oh, that's cool. There's a list of all your skills that you know on the bottom there.
yeah, that's probably the UI mod I picked up.
Man, Skyrim mods really. It's like fucking the speech at the beginning of MGS4. Skyrim modding has changed.
Ordinator's an old one, I will say. Another thing. If you are working with your smithing, right?
Dwarven autocannon?
You can become the engineer if you take this. Or you build your sentry, you can upgrade it, you can make it fire electro bolts, and you can summon up to 2 of them with firing line. And you can get one where it gradually shoots faster over time. You're getting 2% per shot. It gets up to 200%.
But how does all this stuff scale according to the game's difficulty? Because surely you'll be tearing apart Parthenax in like an instant with this shit.
You have to be higher level to get all this shit, and you have to slowly build it.
Parthenax fucking Alduin.
Enemies scale with you level-wise, but also this stuff is you have to get real high level to get it. Like, you need level 80 smithing for your spin up.
Yeah.
There's heavy armor. I want to say, a lot of this is just, like, armor stuff. Which basically it's, like, some stats. Sprinting. Oh! Face of death. You no longer need to wear a helmet to benefit from the entire set of heavy armor.
That's vanilla, right?
I think that's vanilla.
Sounds vanilla.
Yeah, it sounds vanilla. Our allied skeletons. Blocking. There's like a time block skill. Nothing too fancy to it. Different weapons do different kind of damage, and daggers can do bleed damage when you level it up high enough with one-handed. Archery, you can make trick arrows.
Ooh.
You can also get some aim stuff. With light armor, you can take the far left path, and you can basically become a monk.
Oh, nice.
It's unarmored damage and shit. And I guess the final thing I'll talk about here, is that there's spell stuff. Alchemy can let you do potion stuff, but also like put down chemical oils of different elements. And it lets you land on with spell stuff. There's also an ability where potions give you a random side effect that's really good.
Of course.
Illusion, you know, has some pretty like complex stuff, but the one I want to get into that's nutty is I think Conjuration got the biggest overhaul because there's like there's different summon builds. Like there's a skeleton build where if you manually collect bones, you can go summon a skeleton from it. And
like summon my own army and shit.
Yeah, you can increase the amount of skeletons you summon. You can give commands to them. You can summon skeleton mages.
That's what I'm talking about.
Make bone altars, and you can either go for Puppet Master, where their skeletons take less damage when you're blocking, or King of Bones, which is assume control of a skeleton while becoming invulnerable. The skeleton does quadruple damage and takes half damage.
And there's this other skill called Queen of Bone, where you just become Makima for a second.
God. There's also destructions, like the different elements. Restoration also got a good makeover. There's healing. There's the paladin roots, which are the spells that burn and just annihilate the undead. Or you can get, or you can just get into necromancy. Or not, you can get necrotic spells where it's like,
as long as the snitch doesn't rat you out.
Yeah, the study of arts of disease through the putrefy spell. When your restoration reaches 50, you learn Death Cloud. You can also learn Carrion Wind. These spells do disease damage. There's also Chalice of Tears, which if you're diseased or undead, your restoration spells are stronger and last 50% longer. There's also Plague Doctor, which is to radiate a zone of pestilent death.
The fucking gamer stank.
Alteration gets weird. I don't have time to get into all of it, but I'll say if you get high enough level, you can just unlock Dimension Door.
Nice.
You can also get Energy Shield, where you turns your mana into an Energy Shield. Like, it's nuts. I can be here all day talking about this mod alone.
Nice.
Also, enchanting,
Tatum?
God. I'm just imagining it's like a Minecraft like setup. It says the red circle, the chanting. It's supposed to be like enchanting Tatum. There's also a thing where if you have an enchanted staff in your left hand and you strike with an enchanted weapon in your right, it creates a flash of light that staggers enemies. It's called You Shall Not Pass. That's more the monk's book. But yeah, that's Ordinator. Pretty nuts. But, something else I want to say on this stream. I've said it a little bit earlier, but I'll say it now more closer to the closing time. Unless something happens and somebody doesn't make it, or I forget something for some reason, this Thursday should be, something I've been working on for months. A tabletop campaign of Hunter the Reckoning that I have named Hunter the Road Trip. I have worked on this for months. I think I finally got to a point to where the game itself is fully playable. And I even have all the images. I have a bunch of hand-drawn stuff for it, drawn digitally. I hope we can be there for Thursday. I'm not going to be the only one streaming it. I know Joshy will be streaming his POV. For people who will be playing it, which is like all of 3 people in here, I trust you not to use that stream to screen peek at his secret dice rolls. Also, yes, here's a mechanic that I've added, is a secret dice roll. I'm hosting this over Discord because it doesn't need a map. I have some maps, but I'm implementing them in a way that can work. But each of the players have their own hidden dice roll channels where they can roll the dice in that channel and nobody else can see it. Unless they fuck up the stealth thing, and then I immediately point out, hey, you hear a noise or something. So, yeah, if they succeed, they can hide their actions in there. So, you can look forward to all sorts of chicanery that they'll be using with that mechanic. Also, most Hunter campaigns are in one location. This is in several locations across the United States. And we'll be starting in one and going to a bunch of others. And I'm really, I will say I am really happy with my selection of locations, even if I had to swap the second location last second.
What for?
Reasons.
Lore reasons?
Yeah, but I do have an alternative worked out that's pretty good, that people will really like, and some may recognize that it's something that I crafted really recently, and it also ties in with stuff.
Oh?
But that's all I'll say about that. Look forward to the Hunter campaign, hopefully this Thursday, if everybody can make it, and streamed on multiple.
Question.
There you go.
If not everybody can make it at least for session 1, are we gonna push it back?
I'm really excited to do this, but it is the first session. It's supposed to be everybody's introduction. Everybody has to be there for the first one.
That's what I was thinking.
Understandable.
As much as I want to be really impatient and get this shit out the door ASAP, the first one has to be
Everyone.
has to be everybody. There will be a couple other ones where I can, after the first one, there will be a couple other ones that might need them. But I think for the most part, if somebody can't make it, we can either push some of it back, but we can also do some without them and we can catch them up to speed. Unless you pull some bullshit, which I don't think will be too likely. But yeah.
Will Nora be able to? I'm not sure Nora's here. How's your computer working? Like, do you think you're gonna be able to show up? I don't know if he's still in chat or not.
But yeah. I'm just taking the time to talk about this. And after the stream ends, I'm getting a drink. I am really thirsty.
Oh, what?
God. Yeah, look forward to that. I have a bunch of, like, visual stuff. Also, you guys are gonna have to remind me that with the Discord application, to only use Discord on either a browser or my phone if I peruse through different channels. Because I have a system set up where I go to Sesh Gen Chat, and I live update the stream to your dice rolls. So anytime you make a new dice roll, the audience will immediately see it if it's not hidden.
Oh, so that's like a case of like double anti-cheat.
Oh, it's more of like if you make a public dice roll, the audience can see it and be like, and it gives them a visual reminder of, oh, that's their dice roll.
So we got to do the rolls in
Sesh and session chat. Unless you don't want other people to know about it, then you go to your personal, private, secret dice channel I made specifically for you players individually and you guys alone. None of the other players can look in there. If you want to do some shit.
Excited to use this D10s I bought.
Damn, I can't use dice. Oh, that sucks. Okay.
Wait, what?
Wait, I can't use my own dice. I have to roll in the thing.
It's the Sesh Gen Chat. If you type your numbers in there, the audience will see it.
Oh,
Oh,
so we
okay.
can still use our dice.
So here's the thing.
The roll.
It captures Sesh Gen Chat. It captures
Okay.
the feed from Gen Chat. So when you do a bot roll, it'll flow up there. But if you type your roll, the audience will also see it. So it just.
I will roll down my I will write down my dice, and I can assure you that I am a deeply authentic individual.
I can't. If you're a randos, I would make you use the bot, but I know you guys and I trust you, so I will let. If you guys want to use your special little in-person dice, you can. Just type it in Sesh Gen Chat. That's all I do. So you write it down in Sesh Gen Chat, so the audience can see it and I can see it.
Yeah, I can use my epic and cool D10s.
Unless you want to keep it a secret, then put it in your own secret dice channel. Also, you can ping me so I can look on my phone in there.
Will be there.
During session 0, I was also using the dice channel as like a notes channel. It's like, okay, remember to ask this.
Here's the thing. It's meant for dice rolls, but like, I say because it's a Gen Chat, everybody can see everything in Sesh Gen Chat. So remember, that channel is what needs to be displayed. So dice rolls, and if you maybe want to type like a little something, like, oh, I want to just type something to feel a little extra, you just throw it down there. But just remember, Sesh Gen Chat, during the streams, the world and anybody who tunes in will see it.
Yeah, I remember there were times during our session 0 and we're like, okay, this person said this, I want my character to respond this way, and so I just started using the secret dice channel to write down notes of, okay, I want to ask this whenever I get the vocal real estate from like 6 people wanting to also get their work in.
Here's the thing, you can do that, but because I'm not streaming the secret dice roll channels,
Yeah.
like they're hidden dice roll channels for a reason. I will say I'll have to remind myself, and you may have to remind me even if I don't do it, to use my phone to check in on your hidden dice rolls. That way it doesn't show. That way I don't just live expose somebody's secrets on stream.
Like, you could possibly, I forget if I mentioned this before, you could try using, like, the browser Discord for specifically the dice.
I might, though I will say, I'll have, I think, one browser for Fugies, and one for the music and visuals. I guess the one thing I meant to ask, even though I think I got it, was, I know, like, for you, Justin, you're able to have the YouTube music, but still keep the image up when you change songs. And I forgot, and I remembered it, but I forgot the exact steps on how you did that.
Okay, so thankfully it is incredibly, it's just fairly straightforward, because so long as you are capturing any like page from your browser, it will capture whatever audio is there as well. So what you do, you just you pop out an additional browser tab. You put like an image or whatever you want to on there. You don't have to go through the whole song and dance that we did for a hot minute to waste time before the session started. Just like pick anything and go. But yeah, no, once you're doing that, people will just hear whatever music you need to.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, I know how to, like, do that and whatnot.
Also, make it full screen. Generally, you just want to make it full screen as well.
I don't make the image full screen. I remember that. I guess it was more of like changing it and having the stream not like change the song.
Mm-hmm.
I forget.
No, yeah, like that's fine. Just like you don't even need like once you have it up there, you don't even need to touch that particular part of the page. Like all you need to do is just have that up there, just put it in the back, have it be focused, have the Discord stream be focused on that, and then you can just have a separate like series of tabs that's just full of like music or whatever the fuck you need on there.
Alright.
Yeah, you gotta go, trust me.
Yeah, I'll probably do a quick bug test on Wednesday with with a non-spoiler image set and non-spoiler music with not everybody, but either you and a couple others, just to make sure that the lights will come on when we open shop, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I got you, no worries.
But yeah, I'll probably do it'll probably either be like. I think I'm verifying something else on Wednesday, but it might be after that on Wednesday. I'll ping ya, or hell, it may even be like Thursday with some people earlier before that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Good to me, man.
that's my tabletop experience. Anyway, that was Skyrim.
To anybody watching who might be there, you're gonna come. You're gonna shoot ropes. It's gonna be great.
Shooting ropes.
Straight out of a Cold Stone Creamery.
We're gonna fuck some vampires. Woo.
Up, right?
My character might take that seriously.
You see, we're really going to go from hunters to like, come on, just give me a nibble. Just bite me. Come on, just give me your power.
Not the
I mean, we're
NVJ.
all going to join the vampires, and AC's gonna have to learn a whole new system after.
Look, my character's fail girling her way
Alright,
either up or down.
Roboot. We're gonna need to eat Roboot.
I am representing the Fujoshis of the group.
Alright,
Also
so
just
we
girl
know who's turning traitor the first time.
Also, just girl failures in general.
That's been weird. Anyway, yeah. But I guess my final point that I will bring up is about all of this is I'm like, okay, who's gonna be the amoral person of the group? I think most of our players are gonna be righteous. Who's going to be the one person who's gonna do some real morally shady shit?
I kind of did in session 0. I suggested we use a person as bait, like a random person as bait to lure out the abomination.
I'm like, who's willing to shoot the child to stay hidden?
Who's willing to do the Todd?
Yeah.
Zach would be on one screen would be the Jesse in that situation.
God. I will say, my final point is, yeah, I hope everybody has as much fun viewing and playing it as I did making it and hopefully hosting it this Thursday.
You know, the question isn't who's gonna be the guy that kills the baby, it's how many babies is AC gonna throw at us? How many trolley problems are we gonna have to deal with?
Okay, there's a ghoul, and he's a ghoul, like, 10-year-old child. He has a gun. He's aiming at you. What do?
Well, do I have a gun, or am I just dead?
You guys all have your weapons on hand. The question isn't can you, the question is will you?
Well, do I have any other option, or do I just die?
That's for you to decide. You're in...
I don't know the environment. Is there a guy behind the child?
No, it's only the child.
I guess we're baby snuffing.
And just imagine like the ghoul child's
that
like...
child is a combatant.
Like the child pulls it out and everybody goes, no!
The kid's the Todd and we're the Jesse?
But here's the thing about this scenario, that why I'm even saying this. there's a rule I've homebrewed a little bit, and that was like, so in Hunter it carries the VTM morality system over you for some reason, where like you lose willpower if you do something like that you guys consider evil and bad. But I'm like, I think it's a lot more interesting because I know you guys play more righteous. I think it'd be a lot more interesting if a lot of you were like morally good, you know, morally of heart, and you all have to and like, you know, something like that comes up. And let's just say somebody does something fucked up, and I think it's better to have the downside being everybody going, "What the fuck? Why did you do that?"
Are you stupid?
It's like,
Is
and
that a reason?
and I think it's better to have the argument than the stat debuff. But that's just me.
I love me some morality trolley problem.
Is there a lore reason Steph slit that drug addict's throat open?
The ghoul.
I mean, like,
She's severely autistic, Robo.
What does that have to do with
She-
anything?
they didn't think that my fan fiction was particularly good, so I just, you know.
Or people.
I mean, like, there was also the fact that he saw me shank a vampire and I didn't want him to get spotted. But I mean, like, okay, I guess you have to have more than one reason, huh?
I'm gonna say I find it
Oh, you're
interesting if somebody's morally ambiguous, so we can have drama. Everybody's gonna take the wrong lesson, and everyone's gonna be like, "We're gonna mow down the entire town."
No.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say like something about like can't wait till somebody use autism as a reason for killing somebody.
She's not autistic.
God, I'm just imagining. Yeah, I'm really
That's until the autism vampire gets her and gives her the autism.
You see, that's what's causing all the autism in the world.
You see,
Yeah, it's vampire.
it's like, that's the Malkavian vampire, and like everybody has the negative stereotypes, and they're like, I just have autism. That's it. Really? You don't have anything else? No, like multiple? No. I just got autism. I'm like, anxiety. That's really it.
You see, the autism gives you access to the Malcav network.
It's like the Malkavian who's like has very that's like actually just really well adjusted. They just have it's like I just have autism. That's the only reason why I got in.
I think it'd be really funny if for no particular reason one of us is actually really good at talking to Malkavians.
But yeah, my campaign very excited. There's also some little in jokes I've slipped in. I won't say them. I'm very excited, but yeah. I think that'll be the stream for real this time. On my YouTube channel as a VOD because hey, this is the first stream I've done on YouTube simultaneously. So yeah, farewell to everybody.